Meeting of the West Newbury Board of Selectmen, let's call ourselves to order. It's 7:07. This meeting is being broadcast on local cable TV and recorded for rebroadcast on the local cable channels and on the internet. First item of business is an application for a curb cut permit to access the state highway in front of the car post.
Is Gary coming in for this?
He said he was going to come in tonight. I'm not sure for this.
Are you Melissa?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have?
Yeah, Mary told me that.
Go ahead. So do we have, the two questions in my mind were the whole, is there a formal signed agreement with, for the parking lot and also for an easement for the septic line for future use going down the back? Those were my two kind of outstanding.
Is there one?
Is there a formal written agreement on either of those?
I thought that's what we're here for tonight.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the planning board's done.
Oh.
Sure, I can address both of those concerns if you would like.
Is that microphone on?
Oh, please, thank you. Sorry. No, right on top. And could you bring it pretty close, please?
Good evening, members of the board. For the record, my name is attorney Melissa Robbins. I'm from the law firm of DeShane and Farrell. We're here tonight asking again for the rounding in front of the car post to allow for the project entrance and to allow for some reconfiguration along that roadway frontage. This board has looked at this a while back, and we had some discussions with the Planning Board and Conservation Commission where the Board of Selectmen had requested certain parking and easements and other configuration behind the car post. As part of the approval of the Planning Board, we did receive that configuration with the appropriate amount of parking spaces to support what the Board of Selectmen had requested.
8. Yes,
and we can pull out the plan that the Planning Board had approved just so the board can see it, if you want to roll it out in front of it.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to, you don't have to open it, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Where are you going?
And also the easement, there was a secondary request for an easement that was for some utilities running along the edge of the car post. And that's actually shown on a separate easement plan. A while back when we had submitted, I had sent Mr. McCarron a very vanilla easement just saying that we would complete it once we have an approved plan. We now have an approved easement plan. We have the location shown on the plan, so it's just a matter of completing the legal work once DOT approves it.
Are you okay with both those things? Yeah.
So the only action that the board actually has to take is that originally they had approved the DOT application. The DOT application has moved along until the board about 2 months ago had rescinded their approval to proceed. So all we need now from the board is a request for the DOT to proceed with the application. And I think Mary had prepared a very short letter for us to send to DOT to allow for that to continue.
Okay. Archie?
I met with everybody. I met with Gary. I actually questioned about the easement because it wasn't on the particular plan, but it is on on another plan where the easements are put. So it is there. I saw them.
I wouldn't mind looking at a plan.
Sure.
That we're going to approve tonight or whatever, wouldn't you?
Sure.
I mean, this is the one, without you...
The DOT plan.
Yeah, without you getting all your stuff out.
Sure.
Would you mind just bringing it up, sir? What is your name?
Robert Blanchett with Cameron Engineering.
Oh, hi.
These are the plans that are in front of Massachusetts Department of Transportation right now. Last revised on November 6th.
Okay, is there a better... Yeah, is there, yeah, I want to see.
Yep, I don't want to flip the pages until you're ready.
And Gary's concerned about all the landscaping, the paving and all that kind of stuff. That's all was addressed, Archie?
So there's the 8.
So we were going to, one thing we discussed is building a small little, not a curb, but a little something to hold that when the pavement is removed here and we're going to have grass here, we're concerned about it running before the grass takes, running down back into Main Street, and so They're gonna use a little tar and build a little.
The
To
flagpole and all that stuff will not be touched,
The flagpole will stay as is. This is a.
and the sign for it and all that.
Correct. Yep, it'll remain as is.
Okay.
So there's the,
Mm.
okay.
And elevations, you went over elevations with
Gary.
with Gary,
With Garyville, yes.
and he's happy with all those type of things?
Yeah.
Walls and not walls and whatever, without getting into it too much?
Yes.
Those all been addressed to everybody's liking?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion to what?
Well, this letter,
I think we have some, sir. Mm-hmm.
so this letter only has one member signature on it, so we could either have all three, or we could move to authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the board, which would be the motion.
Why don't you make the motion then?
So moved.
Okay. But doesn't it, okay, there's one motion that we're going to have him, yeah, we have
That
to,
was like both.
yeah, we have.
Approve the curb cut radius at the car post, and to have,
Subject to plan, I want the plan numbers on there.
yes. What are
I don't know.
It's subject
Plan-
to the plan approved by Mass DOT November 6, 2017.
subject to the plan approved by Mass DOT, right?
Thank
And
you.
subject to the parking and the parking and the easement,
Okay.
and to authorize Mr. Archibald to sign on behalf of the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chip.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is finalization of
Oh,
the
I don't know.
lodging house application for 15 Marina Drive.
Do we actually have a copy on that?
So we can
or-
sign
or
tonight?
Sign one of these, or what?
I do have one here, please.
This is, you can use one of ours.
Well, she's got one already.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I move to approve the decision of the Board of Selectmen on the application of the Hodgson's for lodging house at 15 Nareda Drive, with the decision to not approve.
Is that the proper way to doing it?
Sure. Is there a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
Further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the much anticipated update on the bicentennial committee.
An posthumous happy birthday to the town, since it was on the 18th.
Sunday, I think it was.
It was on the 18th, yep.
199 years.
Doesn't look a day over.
Okay, so I guess it's an update and maybe talk about the article, right? I think there's a little bit,
Yeah.
I think it's
Give you an
two,
update. I'm going to keep it fairly brief,
please.
but if you have questions, please feel free to interrupt or whatever, okay? So the Bicentennial Committee's been established for a little over a year, and we've been meeting regularly. We have currently have 7 members of the committee. Very good committee, very active people, a lot of interest, a lot of good ideas. So we're working together well. The plans that we have right now, none of it is particularly engraved in granite. So there are changes that might be made, but the broad strokes of what we're planning to do is in February, which is the actual birthday of the town in 2019. We're planning to have birthday parties, probably more than one, which would be a dance, some kind of a festive event to just celebrate the actual birthday. That would not be on the 19th because that's in the middle of the week. So we're planning on holding those parties on the 23rd, which is the weekend after the actual birthday.
Can you talk to, do you have $70,000 for birthday parties? Seems like I'll have a birthday party.
Did I have 70,000?
I don't know, that's what it says.
This is what it says on the article. We can go through the article after. The backup material for your article says
We're
that,
actually planning on the birthday parties making money, so something's wrong there.
Okay.
Um,
How much, okay, let me
I
start with
may have
this.
made a mistake.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
That's what it says
Yeah.
here. How much money are you asking for in total?
We are asking for $140,000.
Okay, so that's.
not 219.
Okay, there
So if you
there-
take the 70 away from 219, you're almost at 240.
I,
Okay, so make that.
You're at
zero.
250, actually.
We'll make that.
You're
zero.
at 251,
You said it, they'll contribute.
249.
no, okay, well, let me clarify a little bit. I'm not sure where that number came from, so
No,
if there,
maybe it's 70 and then minus 70.
if there was a
Maybe that's
mistake,
zero.
it was mine, and I apologize,
It
because
says
I,
draft
provided that.
Well, why don't we go over the article?
okay, so anyway, there
Afterwards.
are 2 birthday parties planned currently, but neither one is definite.
We'll go over the article after.
One of them is a formal black tie affair with dinner and everything, for which we're planning on charging for tickets. So that's not something that would be
That's self-funded.
free.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
The other birthday party is just a big party in a large space, like a gym or someplace like that, which would be open to anyone in the town who wanted to come and would be free. So there would be some expense for that party, because we'd like to have a nice party with a band and, you
Yeah.
know, a really nice party, but we wouldn't be charging tickets for that. So, and both parties, unfortunately, would have to be subject to availability of space, because we don't have huge spaces in town or whatever. So it would be sort of a first come, first serve basis. We have this many places that we have for people to come to these parties, and so, you know, if you want to come, sign up early. But no, $70,000 is not.
We'll go through that afterwards,
a
so,
rational
because I don't want
number
that
for
to
so
stop the
I'm
whole
not sure
thing.
where that came from. Okay. Then we're working with Mary to make a much bigger deal out of the Memorial Day Parade for the year of 2019. So Mary's got plans of her own, but we're also working with various groups in town, maybe have floats and some other things like that in the parade, in addition to what we normally have, and possibly have a second line band with a march down the street to the ice cream social, and you know, some really fun hoopla around the bicentennial celebration.
Some speakers maybe
And
at the
some-
end
and
that we
some
do.
important speakers.
Yeah,
We're working on, you know, talking heads, whoever we can entice to come, and be speakers at the Memorial Day Parade. Then in July, the week after the 4th of July, we're planning a whole week of events, not all day, every day, obviously, but events like, for example, a pancake breakfast, an ice cream social, a special bandstand concert, a barn dance, a community service project, and following and after the whole week of various events, and all of those are sort of, they're out there, they're ideas we're working on, but they're not necessarily engraved in granite at this point. But the final event would be a big West Newbury Field Day up at Pipestave Hill, probably, with all kinds of food and games and events, and we hope to follow that up with fireworks.
And a picture.
And a picture?
I mean
A picture of the,
well, you saw the one,
yes.
you saw that one.
Picture.
And a
Yes.
picture of everybody, so
Yeah.
then we can maybe put it next to the one from 1919.
Right.
Don't
So,
forget the equestrian.
oh, and yet the equestrian, well, I'm not there quite yet. Okay. Now, in addition to and then the final thing we would have would be a time capsule ceremony, probably sometime in the fall, that would be driven by the school children, who would put together what went into the time capsule, and
Terrific.
that would kind of.
Are you thinking about putting it, maybe having a plaque, you know, in
Yes,
granite,
yes.
something, this is a time capsule from whatever, and we bury it somewhere?
Right,
Okay.
exactly. Big ceremony and all that.
Terrific.
To end it.
Sounds good.
Now, in addition to the things that the committee's working on doing, we're also encouraging other groups in town to do special events for the bicentennial.
Library, garden club.
Library, Historical Society,
Society,
Garden
yeah.
Club, and we just talked to the Riding and Driving Club, and they're very excited about having their annual event be part of the whole festivity. And we're,
They're working with you to coordinate timing so that you don't have overlaps.
right,
Mhm.
timing and publicity and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
We're working right now on a logo for the bicentennial celebration, which we'll be using for calendars of events, and we're hoping to put a big banner somewhere, and Steve wants to put it across the road. We're not too sure how that's gonna work.
Put it on the training field.
Well, now that she's
I
mentioned.
knew you were gonna say that.
I know. I'm
Now
pretty
that she's-
predictable about that.
Now that she's mentioned it, we would like the selectmen, and I'm talking in the short term, to help our committee put a banner across, say, somewhere near the House of Pizza. I don't see telephone poles that anybody would want to put a banner on.
We'll take care of that.
And it's a state road, so that's enough. Thank you.
Not a problem. We'll take
But we
care
wanna
of
have
it.
a big banner, and
So if we have the banner made up, you will take care of putting it up?
Yeah, but we need to have some coordination on making sure the banner is really strong and that it's
Yes.
long enough and
Yes.
it's
High
Yes.
enough.
the cables and all that. We'll work with you on
All
that.
over it.
But we'll
I
use-
mean, do we
Mike
know
Mike
that-
McCarron actually will work on that, make sure all the legal aspects
Well,
of
I
it
was gonna
are.
ask Gary, you putting something across a state highway like that, what's the rule on that?
There isn't.
There isn't.
I talked to the governor actually yesterday about this, and he said it's fine. What are they going to do? Make us take it down?
we'll invite the governor to put it up.
I hope so.
So we'll be using that logo also for promotional materials and calendars of events and stuff like that. So we hope to use it as sort of a unifying theme for the entire thing.
Just, are there any other things going on in neighboring, basically, just don't wanna like, it wouldn't be good that this happened at the same time as Yankee Homecoming, obviously, or something like that.
It's
But
not,
is
it's
there
not a
anything
Yankee
else
Homecoming.
happening in that particular July that we know of?
Not that I know of. Amesbury's doing their 350th right now, and I don't know of any other towns that are having a really important anniversary right now.
Well,
If anybody else knows of
or
one,
annual events, like you said, Yankee Homecoming.
yeah, it doesn't conflict with Yankee Homecoming. We
Well, I was just.
yeah, when we chose the week, we were cognizant of those kind of, we didn't want to.
July 4th and, all that stuff, yeah.
We also didn't want to have it at a time when lots and lots of people are normally gone for vacation, so that.
Which would be July 4th weekend, and a lot of people take
Yeah,
it in
so it's
first week
the
in August is
after
always.
July, and August tends to be big vacation.
Yep.
time, so
Perfect.
we didn't really want to.
And then if we get it in stone, we don't move it around too much now, people start planning.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. If we let people know this is the
That's-
week.
that's
we're gonna
true,
have
yeah.
all this, then that's true. We are, this comes up all the time, we are working on soliciting sponsors from local businesses and whatever. And also some fundraisers, so that we can offset the expense. The committee really feels that the $140,000 that we're asking for is a bit of a minimum amount. But we need the money up front because we need to put down deposits, for example, on venues. If we're gonna have a band for a party, we need to give the band a deposit, and actually,
And for the parade, if you're going to be, a lot of those, well, in the Memorial Day parade, we have the revolutionary people sometimes come, but if you want a real big one or somebody that's significant, you need to pay people like that, or a different marching band other than the school one or stuff. Those cost money, and you have to get them in advance because they're sought after.
right.
So are you going to talk maybe in the future, I don't know, or now, like the 140, like how does that break out? What it's for?
Well, I'm not sure what you're looking at because that kind of threw me for a loop. But,
Okay, so can we finish talking about that, and then we can talk about the money aspect of
Oh, I
it?
thought we were
But yes,
done.
I just have one.
I will be.
I have one more question. So, the cable advisory, the cable committee, because we've talked about this. We want to be organized with you to be able to document everything that's going on also. Okay, and that would be funds from the cable This is an important event. So being able to record things and be able to put them out on TV and the events and the concerts, we want to be part of that. So then we have a historical value of it. It's on tape, but then be able to run it on our local TV shows.
actually, that's been mentioned to me before. The committee hasn't actually talked about that yet, but that's on my list of things to bring up at the next meeting, which is we do need to connect with the cable committee.
So I'd be glad to come. We'd be glad to come.
Okay, great.
Because we could even help maybe with a website or a link to a website or something like that. We can do other stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because publicity is a big, very important part of this. We need to be able to get the word out to everybody that this
Mm-hmm.
is happening, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
Yep.
Another thing that we're planning, we haven't talked about it lately because it's not, but we're planning to do a West Newbury Day at Fenway Park, and we've already
Oh, yeah.
been in contact with the people at Fenway Park.
Great.
And so they put us on the big
Yep.
jumbotrons and stuff like that.
You don't
It's
have a
West
date.
Newbury's birthday. No, we don't have a date. We have to, well, first of all, we want the Red Sox to be playing at home, which is.
That generally
they
helps.
don't have their-
No.
They don't put their calendar out until a year before, so,
But we have it now. We have it.
yeah.
We have
And,
it.
So that could be organized. We all take buses in from here. We all go in and then come back.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's, and
So-
there are numbers of smaller events like that sort of in the works. So what I gave you was just sort of the broad
Mhm.
brush of, but
When you think
the
there'll be a
Garden Club,
calendar
Historical
out?
Society and all those people are definitely working on projects.
Do you have a drop dead? Do you have a deadline? I should say on like okay, all the events with all your group and all the other organizations in town, and then a calendar comes out. So then we can really start planning.
Right. We don't have that.
Because it's a year away from now, so
We
it
don't
would
have
say
that date, but we are very aware that we need to make that date soon. because-
so like a calendar would come out this fall
Yeah.
with everything cast in stone. I mean the details don't have to be done by then, but
But the dates have.
the yeah, I know, but I mean the details, of course, the details in the sense that it starts at 3 and it's on this date and it's a picnic, yes, but the details like are you going to serve hot dogs and hamburgers is
We're gonna have
that.
ketchup.
Those details what I meant. You know,
No, but with that, we are working, the committee currently is really pretty clear on what we want to do when. We just have to make sure that we have the right people lined up for the events that we want to have, and we have some questions about, well, who's going to do, for example, one of the things we wanted to do was a pancake breakfast to, sort of kick off the whole thing, and then have everybody kind of go over to Pipe State Hill or someplace and have an opening ceremony with some important person opening West Newbury's bicentennial celebration. And the question came up, well, who's going to cook the pancakes?
I'm meeting with them. I'm meeting with so I'm helping out. Not that I'm going to cook them, but I'm going to tell.
But
Yeah.
those are the kinds of questions we're asking now.
I got the email and I
Nitty-gritty of, okay, well, we want to do this.
I responded back and I'm going to meet with her
But
next
we
week.
do have really good people on the committee.
When is your next meeting?
Next
Tuesday.
Why don't you invite me to that meeting so I can explain that? I'll meet with the person who emailed me, and then we can talk about the cable aspect of it also,
All right,
and how we
sounds
can
good.
help.
I'll put you on the agenda.
Well, I can just be there too, or whatever you want me to do.
So what's really pressing are the parties that are 1 year from right now. The rest of it is, the Memorial Day Parade is over a year, and then the big parties in July are a year, almost a half, but not.
Yeah,
Okay?
but the dates have to be set so
Well,
people
the
can start
dates are set.
planning.
We can actually show you that now, but there might be errors. But as far as having it ready early this fall, that's
So you want
that's
to talk about the
done.
money now?
Yes, please.
So the thing that we have, well, yeah, it actually said the amount requested is 140,000, and then you have birthday party for 70. Yeah, it does up to two.
Birthday party, that's 70s probably.
That doesn't add up to 219. I just added it up.
I don't understand.
It's
I know
300.
this page is wrong, but, I mean, I don't see
It's
how.
wrong, and I don't know why exactly, because
Okay.
it is the page I put together, and,
So why don't we say if they could just send us something back over to.
I'll give it to you tomorrow. I don't know.
So why don't you just send something over to Mary to back up the 140, just so we have a better understanding of that.
Right.
Well,
Does that sound good?
can I talk now?
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting.
No, 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 that's what we're
We've
doing.
been talking about the events, and we haven't really talked about money.
Yep.
I'm fully supportive of everything. I think it's a great idea, but I'm not in favor of spending $140,000 of taxpayer money on a birthday celebration. I know it's an important event, it's a bicentennial, but that feels like a lot of money of taxpayer dollars. It seems excessive to me.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
Well, we don't even know what it's going to be spent on, so.
Well, they said it was 140, so I went.
Well, I would think that there would be some aspects of fundraising that we could,
Offset
Well, if we're not
them.
spending $140,000, that's fine. I'm talking about,
but there might
So, but
be-
what-
But there might be an initial outlay of that, which could then be somehow, recouped in
But what,
somewhat.
what would be acceptable then in your
I
mind?
think we need to have a money conversation of, this is how much this event costs, this is how much this, you can't have that conversation not knowing that.
I understand, but what is your,
What's your top?
but what happens if if we all come back and say 100, we really need 160 and this is justifiable and this is exactly what we're going to do? You would say, no, that's excessive. So it doesn't matter.
I'd say 140 is excessive.
I know, so it doesn't matter what the backup material is, so what do you think is not excessive?
I don't know, it depends on what, what the events are and what they cost. I can't answer that tonight.
No, but you're saying that 140 is excessive no matter what the events cost.
That's true, yes.
Okay.
I'm saying that.
Okay, yeah, so
What is not?
what is not,
Even if it was the greatest thing ever.
is it 90 or is it 100 or is it 50 or is it 30?
Not seeing them, what it costs, I don't know. I can't answer.
All right. But no matter what you see, 140, you don't have to see it, but 140 is excessive.
Yes.
What's in the,
On the list, it's excessive.
no, what's in the, I forget the amount, what have we put away so far?
20,000.
Just 20? Okay.
20 or 25?
I'm going to interject here
Have
because
you-
I think we need to be on the same page when we have this conversation. So anyway, I apologize for this. The $140,000 that we're requesting will not cover everything that we even have on the books right now. The $140,000 is the amount of money we need to get started on this, to make deposits, to get things rolling. The actual budget that we started with was, the preliminary estimate was $219,000 at a minimum for all of these things. Now, this comes from a spreadsheet that was put together by one of the members of the committee who's an event planner. So it's based on whatever computer programs event planners use to estimate what it's going to cost to have this kind of event for this many people. Everybody on the committee is now taking at least one of these events and going through it very, very carefully to see if that was an overestimate, an underestimate, whatever. So we're in the process of trying to nail down better numbers, but we had to give you a request. So we took what we had, and based on what we estimated was somewhere in the $200,000 range for everything we wanted to do. Then we said, okay, now we are going to look for sponsors. We are going to do some fundraisers. But if the will of the town is that even $140,000 is too much, clearly we're not going to be able to do this. Now, that's fine. If the town doesn't want it, the town doesn't want it. That's,
Or at the scale, I think the town wants it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we can.
Nobody's saying the town doesn't.
And this is
Yeah.
Joe, I mean,
Yeah.
his alternative, we're all going to be at his house
But
then.
we are, but
I
yeah,
have no
but
problem with
we
that.
already had some pushback at the previous special town meeting, or I think it was the annual town meeting, where all we were asking for was 10,000, and somebody already stood up and said, "Are we going to be asked for more money?" So it was like,
So I think people have to understand what they're going to be getting for it either, because,
Yeah.
and people have to understand what you have to project of an outcome. I mean, it's thousands. So if you,
and one thing,
If
that,
it-
one
you
thing
know-
that helped me, Glenn, was I said to myself, I mean, I looked at this number and I went, "Woo, this is going to be a hard sell at town
yeah, but
meeting."
it's really not
And
that
then
much money.
And then I thought,
It
how
really
much
isn't
did
that
you
much money.
I said
It's
to
over
my, I said to
1% of our annual budget.
I understand, but it's really, if what we,
But I said to
if it's what you
myself-
want to do, it's what you want to do, it really is. So if you just have hot dogs and hamburgers for $5 a person, and you do it for 2,000 people, that's $20,000. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? And so you have,
and if
it's a large scale, we have to understand, it might be too much money, it might not want, we might want to scale it down, I don't even know. But we have to think the scale of it. That's what you have to think about.
Just won't plow the roads that year, and that would cover it.
Right, exactly, my point.
But anyway, one way I had of looking at it was, think about how much money you would spend on a wedding for a certain number of people, and now multiply that by a whole town.
Well, that's what I was trying to do with the hot dogs and hamburgers. So if you had a
mean,
barbecue
so,
for
I mean,
5,000, if you had a barbecue
You can
just for
encourage
$5 a
the couple
person.
to elope, and that's fine. But if you want to have a party, it's very expensive.
Well, you have $30,000 in there is for fireworks, and if you want to have a good fireworks show, that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah, at least 30.
I spend $2,000 with my friends at July 4th up in New Hampshire, and we go up north for $2,000, and it's okay.
I don't doubt fireworks cost $30,000.
And-
ice cream costs $15,000. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'm doing an ice cream thing tomorrow in my place in Middleton, right? It's costing them $1,700 for one building, and you're going to do it for the whole town.
I mean, I like the idea.
You know what I mean? So it's scale. That's the thing we're thinking about.
I like the idea of what Casey said as an example. Like the black tie thing is, people that want to come, it's self-funding. So there's no taxpayer dollars involved.
But you know what?
And not everything's going to be.
But listen, I understand that. But there were taxpayer dollars, and then we spend it on this, we spend it on this, we spend it on a building, we spend it on a new truck, we spend it on it. It's their money. So let them decide. It might be nice to spend some of their money on getting all together and having a celebration too.
Somebody might say,
I'd rather spend it on that than a new truck. I mean, seriously.
no.
Nothing against you, Gary. I just use it as an example.
You have to be given the opportunity to say yes or no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Will of the voters, that's fine.
But what I would do is make sure it's by town meeting, it has to be pretty precise.
And I'm afraid that that's an unrealistic expectation. If you want to know how many dollars and how many cents it's going to cost to have a pancake breakfast,
Well, you'll know that by
by
then.
town meeting time, we could have a pretty good estimate of it.
That's good enough.
But
Yeah.
we're not
I can
gonna
help
be
you-
able to say, this is the budget and we need this much.
Wow,
of
you
this
can't
and
do
this."
that because you don't know how many people are going to show up either.
We don't. And the other part of this that always goes along with it is that, to the extent that we're successful with sponsorships and fundraisers and stuff, and money comes back in, and even the black tie event might possibly be a fundraiser if we can do it for a reasonable amount of money. That goes back into the budget, and then whatever's left over goes back to
The
town.
free cash. It's coming from
So
free
it's
cash.
not
It goes
like
back to free
anybody's going to
cash.
be making any money on this. I mean, it's all just a question of how much of a celebration can we afford to have.
And the quality of what you want to have.
And the
Another
quality.
thing you can do is amortize the cost over 100 years, Joe.
It's not me.
I just,
Oh, no, it
comes
is
every
you.
100
thought of
years.
that, too.
And there are things like if we do get the governor here, and I'm putting together a black tie affair that a governor would come to, I've looked at all the venues possible in this area, and Grover Fairway's one after a lot of work, and the band is second to none, and we're going to get them at a very, very good price.
Mhm.
And the food is going to be over the top, and it's not going to cost that much, maybe $125 a head, and we're going to make money. And that money will spill over into the other party that we're going to have at probably the high school. We'll see where. But
It is what it is.
Working on a band that will appeal to the younger crowd and people, and see if we can make that the admission just being a town.
So he's just said that you're going to have Justin Bieber and Timberlake here,
Cardi
and
B.
and he's going to have the Rolling Stones and Frank Sinatra's dead. The other one,
Well, that
at
would
the
be
other
fun,
one.
though.
There's stuff going on here because I didn't release that information.
Yeah. So we understand your point, and the more you can sharpen your pencil and we have a better understanding, I think the better. We could sit here, I don't mean to, but we have a long meeting tonight, we could sit here and talk about
And
this.
we don't have real numbers to look at, so can you make it a priority to actually get real numbers together?
Joe, I'm not gonna lie about this. I don't know, this is what we're working on, and the timing of this town meeting and having to have the budget in at this point,
Should we delay it to the fall?
did not,
No.
well, no, it's an
No,
annual
you
town
can't.
meeting
She
thing.
said she can't do it.
No. They're gonna have something. I'll come to your meeting on Tuesday, we might be able to have a better
It
understanding
doesn't
of
have
some
to be
stuff.
to the penny, but just.
But it has to be right.
Well, it has to be right, but it doesn't have to be totally right, because you don't know it at this point.
Yeah.
Well, the voters have to have something to vote on.
Yes, that's what we
can't
want.
vote on
Well,
nothing.
no, they're not. They're going to have a better understanding. No, okay, so can I ask one question? How do we get away with the fireworks?
How do we get away with it?
Yeah, they're illegal in Massachusetts.
Oh, professional ones
Glenn,
are.
you can have,
You can have professional come in, you have to get a permit through the
But they have to
town.
be professional, and they
Yep.
have to be,
They have to have a permit.
No, I know Boston,
Steve
I
and I
was,
can't set
I was
them
just, I was curious by it, because I know they have them in Boston
Yeah.
on the Esplanade and stuff like that. I was just kind of curious how you get around it.
my daughter actually, or was sort of like the event planner at her college, and they actually did them 2 feet, the fire department was there and everything was completely legal, they did it like inside a quad of dorms. I thought that the whole place was gonna go up, and they had no problem with it. So
Okay.
it can be done, yeah.
no, it's possible, but it is expensive.
Of course it is.
So-
Everything's expensive.
See, that
Everything's
seems like
expensive.
one that we could get some kind of, everyone, like.
The institution-
I'd be willing to go in for a couple of salutes. I love fireworks.
I thought he was going to say a couple of thousand, but I didn't know where he was going with that.
Salute is
I don't know.
several.
No, but you know,
several
actually,
hundred.
Okay.
we've had a lot of a
The
lot
Institution
feedback.
of
People say,
Savings
oh, are we going to
Fire
have
Plan.
fireworks? I mean, fireworks are,
But there goes the calendar where you have the Institution of Savings fireworks on this one. The Eastern Bank,
right.
whatever, is birthday party is going to be on that date. And whatever they give. And then the Joe Anderson weenie roast at the Hill. You're going to sponsor that one to keep the costs down. Thank you.
We will do the best we can with trying to solidify these numbers, but
You know what your problem is? You're being too honest right now. Most people who sit in front of us say, "Yeah, we'll have we'll have the numbers by town meeting. Don't worry about it."
Okay.
Thank you.
And actually, so my parting word is this, that town meeting is a very important part of this, because if town meeting shoots down the 140, then we go back to the drawing board, and, you know, we have sort of tea and cookies in front of the library or something, because, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if they would even want us over
things-
there. I'm going to talk to them
These
first.
things aren't free. So it's, you know, it's a question of, well, what does the town really want for their bicentennial celebration?
Well, if we come with a pretty good plan, and a good understanding, I think people have to understand. Things aren't cheap. It's the scale.
Yeah.
Your analogy about a wedding is not a good analogy, because that's what people have in their mind. That, okay, my daughter got married, it was 200 people, we spent $100 a person, whatever. It's the scale.
Well, then multiply that by,
We have 6,000 people, so you have to,
yeah.
you can't say no to somebody. So it has to be coordinated, you know what I mean? It's the scale of it which makes a lot of money. It's not the extravagance of it.
Right.
It's the scale.
Yeah. So, okay.
Thanks.
Thanks. Joe, you want that back? Thank you. What, can you please, you have my email? GlennKemper@gmail.com, so you can tell me the time and everything for next Tuesday? Thank you.
Next item on the warrant is, on the business is the community center committee. Hi, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Thanks for coming in.
How about just giving us a few minutes, just tell us what the committee's been up to last 6 months and and then about your request.
Sure. Excuse me. So in the last several months, we've been looking at, I believe it was Mr. Anderson's request that we look at the usage of the annex so that we can be factoring on all the needs of the towns, the folks that are using the annex now, and factor that into our plan. So we have done some research. I brought it here tonight if you want to take a look, but we're basically looking at everyone, who's using the annex, when they're using it. We're dividing it up by the space that we think that we'll need, the different various sectioned off areas within the annex. And so we're sort of moving ahead, looking at how we can accommodate everyone. We're simultaneously looking for different grant opportunities just for the planning process. And we've also consulted with some local an architect and engineers about sort of how we might move forward with the annex if we did have funding, if it was approved, all of that stuff. So that's really the point that we're at now, where we want to continue to determine the feasibility per our charge via the annex as an initial location for a community center. Excuse me. So now we're at the point where we're looking at things that cost money, as in, sorry, I have a cold, so my head's a little foggy.
You're doing fine.
A structural engineer, which we are going to have to do requests for proposals for that. But the amount that we're requesting for the article, I know we're getting to that next, but we're at the stage where we need to put that money in. And so I looked online and I looked at some different vendors and that kind of thing. It can range between $500 and $5,000 for a structural assessment survey. We also want to bring in an acoustical engineer because that is a not very acoustic friendly space, just a lot of hard surfaces and that kind of thing.
Can I just interrupt? Have you done that already in the past? I know
No,
you've done some work.
I would have to talk to Gary, and I did stuff, but that was a long time ago. But it would have to be, I don't think it would be relevant because they're going to be breaking it all up, so I think. So they would need that.
Okay.
Gary and I had somebody in there, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, I think.
An acoustical engineer or a structural?
The acoustical, just because we were having town meeting in there,
The
we were
town
having
meeting
problems.
stuff, okay.
Because remember, that was a gym.
Right.
That was a gym.
I remember.
Yeah, but that was, no, they didn't do, no. We had somebody come in and it wasn't more of an engineer, they recommended, the panels on the wall and stuff, but for the purpose we were going to use it for.
Right.
They want somebody to come in for the purpose they're going to use it for, so I don't think it's apples and apples.
I don't think so either, because
No.
once you start dividing up the space, even a little changes, so,
Totally changes.
yep.
And then you wanted a plumber to come in.
A plumber to come in to see about hooking into a gas line. There's just sort of a sink in the corner, you guys all know the space, to see about making that more of a kitchen, so that we sort of could tap into all the resources that were around in the building.
So at the end of it, you're going to get some type of a report that's saying that, hey, this is what you can do, that's what you can't do, and it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to be able to fulfill the things that you're going to want to do? Is that what
That's correct, yep.
And do you think 5,000? I don't even know, but $5,000 seems light to me.
Seems light to you. The idea is that...
Light, and I don't think it's enough money for that.
Right.
I don't know, but...
I don't know that it's exactly enough money either, but the idea is that the structural engineer has to come first. We can't proceed. If the cost-benefit analysis is not in our favor, we can't proceed. So we would start with the structural engineer before doing the other things. In terms of that, we'll have to play it a little bit by ear. Like, for example, the structural engineer can produce a report that's very formal. We might not go for that. We might go for something a little less. And so what's a little bit challenging about our committee is that every year, every few months, what we're doing changes, what we need changes, and we're learning as we go. So,
Changes in the
Yeah.
roadblocks? Or what do you
no,
mean
in the
changes?
sense that, like, we're gathering information now. Now we have information. We have an action plan that's for the next 6 months. Now, the stage, for instance, the stage we're at now, where engineers are telling us this is the next step that I would take with the annex. So now this is a situation where we would have to invest more money than we have. I realize that we are returning back over $4,000 that was carried over. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because we were at a different stage then,
Are you
and
talking about this fiscal year or last fiscal year?
last fiscal year.
Why
Well,
are you
we don't
returning
need
it?
to necessarily
Why are you
turn it
returning
over.
that?
It's, well, it was already,
Was it an article, first of all? It had to have been an article,
it
right?
was an article, and it was carried over, and it was carried over to the year that we're in now.
So,
They
but
also have money, they have both, actually.
they have.
They have $6,000.
No, but there was like,
They have $6,000 on a line item, of which there's been, as of the end of December, $115 expended, so they've got $6,000.
but there was an article.
And there's an article of which they've got a total balance this year as of,
Today.
as of December 30th, I don't know what they've done the last 2 months, of $10,700.
Right.
Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay, so the 6,000, just say it's $6,000. What is that for expenses?
It's as expensive, yes.
And the article? What was the motion?
It doesn't, I don't know, that is just too much.
Do you remember what the motion was?
That was a few years ago. I
The motion is what we voted on, so you can spend that money. You can spend that money towards whatever the motion was.
So Glenn, there's also, there's an artical request of $5,000 in front of us. There is money in a line item. So you put all this together, it's like $20,000.
Yep. Okay. I feel better.
No, 20. There's a line item.
A line item for a new line item that won't come into play until. So you have to spend. So you have $6,000 there.
Yep.
That's the one. The $6,000 in your line item that, as of December, you spent $115.
That does go away.
That does go away
Yep.
as of June 30th. But your article, unless it had a sunset clause on it, and I probably didn't, does not go away, but you have to obviously spend it on whatever that motion was. If
Right.
the motion is, I want to spend it on a pencil, and you can't spend it on architectural things. You know what I mean by that?
Yes, I
It has to be
understand.
true to the motion.
So you
Yes.
said you were aware of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then that's why I feel better.
Usable. It seems to me it was like
Yeah.
an investigative.
Yeah. So now,
money,
so you
that
have.
seems like it would apply.
So the $10,000 and the $5,000, you're going to try to achieve all three things that you set out here to do? You know what I mean by that? Because
Are you looking at the article right now, or are you talking about the budget?
I'm talking about the article. So
Okay.
you have three things in your article request that what factors timing purchase? You outline the three things that you talked about.
Right.
And then you're requesting $5,000 because of that. And that's when I said, I don't think if you want to get a good comprehensive understanding of the building under those three things, I don't think $5,000 is enough. So I was going to suggest to make it more.
There's also $6,000 in a line item for FY19.
Yeah, I know, you said that. So I'm just trying to explain to her what I said. So you don't really want to spend any money tonight, do you?
I didn't say I'm
I
for
know.
or against.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So I don't know what you wanted to do with the other. So I didn't realize about the other money. So if your intentions are to use that money with this money to achieve what you wanted to do, then
They have $16,000.
then I feel comfortable. I know, Joe. I don't know what they might be using that other money for something else. I don't know.
So our administrative costs are going to be going up. We had some trouble with like finding an administrator, and we had put in money for an administrator. It didn't work out. It didn't work out again with another person, and so now we have one that's solid, Margaret Poor, and she can help with grant writing, which is something we're going to be looking at to take the financial burden off of the town as much as possible. And searching for that funding is not easy either. So she's going to be taking on much more of a role, and a role that we thought, an administrator we thought would be previously a little more active. So,
Is that in your budget?
Yes.
That was their original reasoning, I think, when they came before us with that $6,000 for expenses. That was part of it.
So
If-
the
if I
administrative
think
costs
right.
were really going to rev up. It didn't work out that way because of a staffing issue, and now we're ready to rev it up.
They came, yeah.
One just sort of general question that came up to me when I saw the request is, how are we going to be doing, if this all came to pass, would be doing anything irreversible to the annex that would make it less usable for town meeting?
That's not our goal. We have a huge space that we want to maintain in there for town meeting, for political events, for a lot of activities from the list from the town clerk of things that already take place in there. So the idea is that everything that's happening in the annex right now will still be happening, and that includes a large space for town meeting.
Have you talked?
And incorporate certain changes to that so we could have a community center and be able to, you know what I mean? By doing more to the space.
By maximizing the space, exactly.
I mean, I think it's a great concept. Have you talked to the DPW director on the capacity of the septic, both for increased usage with the toilets, and then if you put a kitchen in, you've got significantly, so you would have significantly increased usage versus today? Because I understand there's a potential issue with that.
Right, that's part of, I've not talked to, who's DPW director, whose name
Gary.
is that?
His name is Mr. Gary Bill.
Oh, yeah, he came to one of our meetings, so we did speak with him. Sorry, I'm still learning.
He's in the room, so you have to be truthful what he said at the meeting. You can't say, yeah, you can't say, yeah, he said the septic was perfect.
Oh, no, we didn't, no. No, we did,
In back of him is the head septic guy.
Yeah, the Board of Health.
yeah, so we did speak with him, and that is something we're very much aware of. And part of, I think, the structural component, the structural engineer component, we need to be looking at the strain that we will put on the existing septic, and we also need to look at, the plan for the sewer for the town, and if that's going to even happen. I mean, we have a lot of things that that haven't happened that need to be in place for us. So we're just trying to go
Right,
with the
you know what
flow
to talk
until
about.
things are.
Well, no, I want to help her.
I understand, no, you understand what she said when she said sewer.
Oh, I missed that. I was looking at you. Sorry. What about the sewer?
Or the treatment, what we're trying to do for the downtown area. I'm just looking at other options for.
We need to talk about that, because if I'm correct, there's that downtown thing that we said to go out to the grant. Yeah, that's going to be, there's proposals to come down Main Street and go off to the town's Mullen land.
That's way beyond the scope.
And have everybody tie in along the way. So we need to get a better handle on that, quite honestly.
So, okay, I'm trying to help with this. So can we?
Yeah.
Can we ask one of the experts in the room, like, to just give us a 30-second kind of thumbnail on that?
No. Why can't, well, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to be rude like that. But no, but she's at, I think she's saying structurally, and we're all thinking about the walls in the ceiling. I think she's asking for money to be able to go see if the septic is going to be able to handle what they're talking about, if they can move sinks and things can be changed in there, if they could even, their conceptual thing, what they want in the room, is it going to work and stuff with this and that. And so then they can come back and say to us, or instead of going there, they would go to the Board of Health. You know what I mean by that? I mean, rather than having somebody, yeah, whatever.
I mean, I'd like to hear it. If we say no, I'll just call one of the gentlemen in the morning.
Well, you can, but, okay. Yeah, but fine. Come on up, Paul. Is that what you're asking for?
One of them. Yeah.
Who's one of them?
Gary or Paul, whichever is more expert.
But I think we're putting I think we're putting the cart before the horse. I thought this whole report they're going to want to do is about the septic, is about the water, is it about the, I don't know, parking?
I was told it's an obstacle, and I want to see the thing work.
An obstacle?
Yes. So I'm trying to get past the obstacles.
Okay.
I mean, if we don't want to do that, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
All right.
Let's get by the obstacle, Gary.
Okay, on the septic system, anything you change the use of the building is gonna require the septic system to be probably inspected and look at its original size and what it can handle.
So we're not changing the use of the building at all. It's going, right now it's used as a community place now. We're just gonna change the insides so that community activity is just gonna be different a little bit, but we're not changing the use of it, are we?
Well, you could be if you're having a gathering there 3 times a week with 100 people in it.
Well, that's, well,
You're adding to usage.
yeah, but that's not changing the use of the building.
Well, if you were
That's
using-
putting,
Increasing the
if you were-
usage.
If you were using more kitchen-type facility or whatever, you certainly
It's just
are.
like your house, you got a house with 3 bedrooms, you wanna add 2 more, you're not changing the use of it, you're adding to the flow, so therefore you have to address.
well, adding to the flow is different, but we're not changing, I just don't want, I want it said right, if we're gonna get over the obstacle, we're not changing the use of the building.
Well-
Certain things, you know what I mean, if you have to put another bathroom in there,
Correct it.
Yeah.
Adding gallonage to the system will have to be addressed. If you are.
so what does that mean?
Are you saying the current septic system doesn't have the capacity
Well,
to do what we're talking about?
it's
We don't know.
50 years old, you know what I mean?
But a
I don't know
50,
how long it's
but a
gonna last.
50, but a 50,
At least,
no, but a 50-year septic system, it doesn't mean that it's not going to work efficiently.
no, it doesn't, but it needs to be probably looked at. You'll have to get those answers from the Board of Health.
Well, I understand, I know, but just because it's 50 years doesn't mean that it's not working correctly.
I'm just looking at the toilets that keep backing up every other week.
But that's not because of the septic.
That wasn't septic.
No, that was
Yeah, that's,
misusage of.
yeah, that's putting stuff
facilities.
down in it.
But like bringing a kitchen back in there, I don't know, originally when it was a school, that was the kitchen where that was, but during the renovation for the house and all those pipes that go out wherever they go, could have been all taken out, there may be nothing there. So to get to the tank that's on the other side of the building, you're gonna have to go through the apartments and cut holes in the floor.
But that's what the engineer, that's what the
That's right.
engineers
I
got.
guess, Glenn, what I was trying to get to is before we spend $15,000 or $20,000, is it even feasible to do what we're thinking about? That's all I was trying to get to.
I understand that, but I don't think this room, anybody in this room can give us a yes or a no.
You can't answer a question like that
Yeah,
on the spur of the
an
moment.
engineer in what they want to spend the money on
Like what we're
is,
trying to find out.
is what they want to do. But I don't know, is there somebody here that can tell us yes or no? Can you tell us yes or no, Paul? So I think that's what they're asking for. They're asking for, hey, we need some money because we have a plan that, we're executing a plan that Joe told them to do, and go into the annex, and we want to see if it's feasible or not. And when the engineer comes back and says, your septic system is much too small, all the pipes were cut, you can't do it, it's going to cost $700,000 just to be able to do what you're doing, and then we abandon the thing, or we don't. Well, I don't know how else do you get the answers answered.
That's fine, I just wanted to ask them if they can't answer that.
No, I understand what, I agree with you, Joe, but I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
So maybe the best thing is to have,
You need to use the microphone. If he has to get up, you have to get up. You can go here if you like, it doesn't matter.
so maybe the best thing is to have a meeting with myself and Gary in the group that's working on these proposed changes or use, and then we can come up
You can
with
give
them.
them some more specific guidance.
More specific. Gary did mention it to me maybe a couple months ago. We had talked about it briefly, but this is the first time I've read it
That's
since.
probably a worthwhile exercise.
And can I ask a question? That septic system supports what?
The entire town office building and the senior housing out back. My understanding was that was put in the 50s when it was a school, and it was never increased when they added the senior housing. So the flow was designed for one set of circumstances, and when they added the housing, I'm not sure if there's any evaluation done in the 90s to see if it was suitable at that point.
There was.
But it was done-
You don't know, I don't know,
if
so I'm
it
just going to
done
say
in
there
the
was.
90s before 1995 was a different set of code.
Yeah, I know, it does sound like it was designed for a larger group of people. You had kids showering, you had more bathrooms, you had 400
Again,
kids
that's
in
all
the
got to be
school.
looked into before we can make a decision.
Less stringent.
But my point,
regulations at that point.
I got it, and I agree. I was being a little facetious, but I understand. But I think that's what they're asking. for. They're asking for money to be able to explore this. And when she said structurally, I think everybody just thinks about like the structure. I think you're talking about the ins and outs of everything to see if the septic system will do it or not or whatever. I think, am I wrong?
That's correct.
To see if the building will be able to house what you want to do.
So for our next step, how about if Gary and Paul go to their meeting and have a conversation? Perhaps they can offer them some guidance.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, your guidance would be what? Pay somebody to inspect everything, wouldn't it? Or you? Do you have
I don't
that?
know until I know what the details of what they're trying to propose, then I can give a different.
Do you have a
recommendation.
plan of that leaching field?
An old plan, yes. What I remember was from 1958.
It's a good year. They made excellent septic systems back then. I don't know. It all depends. It is what it
on
is.
a 5x7 index card.
It's on a 5x7 index card? Good. They like to conserve, too.
So
Well, the
that
person
is-
wrote
that is
small.
concerning.
Well, that's how everything worked back
Be
then.
careful what you look for.
But it's one of those things, that's what you're looking for, right? I mean,
Right.
and then it's like, okay, it's a stopper. It was a great idea, but we can't do it unless we spend $4 billion or something.
That's exactly right. We have no interest in making, having this be a money pit for the town. It's all about determining the feasibility, and that's exactly right. We just need to
Great
take the
idea.
various steps to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
More support.
I'm sorry, Dick, did you want to say something? No. Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Now for the colorful portion of our meeting tonight, the resident zoning.
Next item on the agenda is a request by resident for a zoning amendment. Right.
Come on up, Beth.
Come on up, Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth Koopman from Meeting House Hill, and I sent in a very quickly drawn up proposal for an amendment to the zoning bylaws with very little education under my belt as to how to write it or where the legal limits are, what I propose. So I'm totally open to any kind of changes that are required by law and for the wording to be able to fit in with our existing zoning laws. But the goal of my efforts was to try to get an amendment passed so that primary use of residential properties be, when there's new construction and new builds, that the builds be residential. Because what happened on my street when the Thomas property burnt down was, in my mind, unfortunate. Basically a commercial garage was built on the property in a residential neighborhood by using a loophole in the law that I'd like to see closed.
So, Mike, can you tell us, I mean, she wrote up something, so we can't legislate somebody to say that it has to be a primary residence, first of all. That means no one could rent anything in town. I
Right,
mean,
you couldn't have it just as owner occupied. There are a couple of things. I think that the issue that you were trying to address is one of where essentially the tail was wagging the dog, that you had more garage than house. And
Right, but also the fact that my understanding is that this building was approved based on the fact that it conformed to the existing laws because it included some requirements, which I'm not specific on because I don't know what they are, but I'm of the understanding that the requirements to make it a residence included something like a bathroom, a bedroom, and a kitchen, or maybe a combination of 2 or 3 of those. And to me, those are not good enough reasons to call something a home or a residence in a residential neighborhood just because it includes those. So I feel that this construction of this building in my neighborhood sort of skirted the law, or the tail was wagging the dog, because it included those elements that made it legal. However, it's still, it's not a home in a residential neighborhood. And my preference would have been to see a home be built in a residential neighborhood, and then if the resident, I'm totally in favor of people being able to do what they want with their own land and their own property. But in this case, the secondary use came first. So
I think the process too needs to be understood. I think the land was bought, and then the individual, if I'm not mistaken, tried to put up a garage to house their cars. And then Glenn Close, he said, that does not fit under our zoning. And then the person put in a bathroom, bedroom, apartment.
For which I'm not even sure they're ever going to live in. So it could be a vacant apartment in eternity.
We can't require people to, in the zoning law, to live in a place.
See,
But
our
you see
problem,
what I'm
hold on.
saying? The
But,
problem is that
Beth, our problem, not our problem, but the way this works is that we pass zoning laws at town meeting. And then it goes into the Attorney General for them to approve it. And it wouldn't, your proposal, the way it's written now, and maybe we can rewrite it, they wouldn't approve it, because
I
you
get
just,
that.
you can't mandate people to do what you're asking them to do.
But the thing is, and this is exactly, I think, the process that we should do here is to work with the planning board. They're the ones who are the primary people.
Of course.
And you say, and work with them. And one of the things we can do is a situation to address this situation, or one like it, is to have certain floor area ratio requirements with regard to garage versus house, so that you don't have a circumstance where, as we said, the tail wags the dog, where you have, very large garage and a very small house. And those would be dimensional requirements that you could put in place. So, if somebody wants to have 6,000 feet of garage, they have to build a 24,000 square foot home, which, if they did and they had the space for it, that would be efficient. And I think that's a way. I mean, there are certain limitations on other things, like we can't control things that are governed by the building code. We can't control building materials. If someone wants to build something using one building, then the town can't regulate that for being zoning. Okay, we can't regulate people's taste just on the idea of a general idea of what we consider to be aesthetic or not.
They could paint their house purple or pink and whatever, but if they put lights all over it.
There are some things that you can do, and I think that that's one avenue that will address the situation so that it will not be able to happen again, is a circumstance of saying you can have the separations. And this is the type of thing that the planning board could work out and put into a zoning law. We have, one of the things we have actually in the law is you can't have more than 4 garages. Now we only had 3 on that spot, but they're pretty big, So,
Well, he has 3 doors, but they can fit at least 12 cars.
Yeah, but we only call,
Yeah, there's 3 doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
But the
Very
doors
large,
can
oversized
fit
doors.
2 cars
You
side
could
by
fit-
side going in at the same
You could fit
time.
fire trucks in there.
Okay. But
No.
the
Okay.
thing is that that's how it would address it. To say, okay, we're going to have dimensional requirements that say floor area ratio between the amount of habitable space versus garage.
Yeah, I think
like
it's,
3 to-
I think
it's like 3 to
beyond
1.
the scope of what the goal here of the amendment was, and I agree that working with the planning board who knows the law is the best way to go. But what I want to see happen is I'd like to see some form of amendment go before the town at the next town meeting.
Well, she doesn't have to go to the planning board. She could write that up herself and get 10 signatures and say, just simple, and say that a house has to have a 3 to 1 ratio, that the garage has to be, you know, the house has to be 3 times as big as the garage.
The thing is.
Could you do that?
Is my understanding is that another similar situation already happened down near the river. I'm not sure of the address, but I understand it was a standalone animal barn of some sort. That was basically a Morton building somewhere way to the river or River Road, somewhere around there.
But that's different. I mean, if it was on a farm too, that they actually have, that's a whole different zoning thing. So they could put up, you know, if you have a farm over 5 acres, they could put up a building and use it for agricultural, or put their tractors and so forth in it. And we can't legislate that it's a steel building or a wood building, or you know, we can't legislate that. We can't legislate that, you know. We just can't do it. It's not. I always use this thing. It's not Russia. I mean.
No, I understand.
But I think that you know, given the lateness of this town meeting, I think you'd really be better off trying to get something in the fall and working with the planning board over the next couple of months, and then you'd have something that you know would really address these issues. Because then there'd be other people who would in town would be asked questions of, well, what is this? How does this deal versus the barn versus the garage? I mean, does that mean I can't have a barn? You know.
That's not my goal. I said earlier, my personal opinion is people should be able to build things on their property that they want to put on their property. But residential property is my concern. That when you have a piece of land and there's nothing on it, and you're building something that's supposed to be residential, it should be residential.
But see, that does fit residential under our present bylaw. Right. So you want to try to change it so that particular thing. So what I think Mike's suggestion was having the ratio that you can't have a garage. You can't have a garage that's 6,000 square feet in an apartment that's 100 square feet.
It sounds like an excellent suggestion. However, I would want the planning board's input on whether or not that ratio is the best idea, if that ratio is appropriate to put into an amendment. I mean, they're the best people.
So what you would do is write something like that up, and that it would go to them anyways for their comment. What you would do is you would submit it to us, right? Or you would do the 10 signatures, and they would have to have they would have to have a public hearing on it, and they would have to, and they would comment on it, to make comments to you.
I mean, but my own personal preference is that even before it's written out, they have this conversation with the planning board so they can vet out, you know, all the different issues with regard to, you know, how does this affect barns, you know, versus the garage, how,
right.
You know, how we
all the nuances.
You know, how we gonna, because obviously, I mean, I think people know what we want, but obviously the devil's in the details sometimes, because again, I think in an agricultural community, we might not want to.
You might impact something.
I think you might get what you want and get a lot cleaner if you do it through there and you wait until fall.
Is that you work with them and they, you know, put it on the suggestion and say, okay, and then they would talk about it. It wouldn't have to be at the public hearing, you know, then you would put it on and have a public hearing and be able
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. It sounds to me like we're in agreement that I should go to the planning board, ask them to help me draw up an amendment, and return to the town selectmen with a new amendment that the planning board has vetted.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I would suggest to not reinvent the wheel. We're not the only town in Massachusetts with similar demographics and everything else. And just look, it's not always easy, but do some digging and see what other towns may have already done this, and it would make your life a lot easier.
And the planning board, where, you know, they have those resources where they can reach out to other towns to say,
Archie's right. We've used that before with other towns, and we've tried not to reinvent the wheel. We want to accomplish the same thing. It's already been done and vetted. Then we take it, customize it to West Newbury.
Okay.
So that would be our suggestion, because even if you pass that, it wouldn't. I mean, your thing could go to town meeting, right? It could pass.
And the state could say no.
Yeah, then there would just be a problem, and it wouldn't. I mean, you'd make your point, but there wouldn't be any teeth in it to it at all.
I understand that. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with that one.
The thing would probably is go to see Mike, and then Mike would kind of bring you up to Leah and maybe explain what you need to do. And then Leah is the admin for the
I've
planning
worked
board.
with Leah before.
Okay, cool. Town planner.
Okay,
Sound good?
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is an update on what's happening at the paid school. Gary, can you come up for a second?
It might be more than 8:30, 7:30. Never mind. No. It was-
So,
What's up? You here to give us an update?
tell us what's been happening in the last week. The contractors have been back?
Yes, they've been back. The electricians were there today, buttoning up most of their stuff. We got an update from the adjuster today that the asbestos guys come and do another test on another section. They want to verify something that didn't get done. That'll be done tomorrow. Right after that, he's supposed to be getting a company into abatement company to give us a plan on how we're going to proceed if we have to.
If we have to.
Yeah, if
Yep.
we have to on that. Once that's done, the floors will be done, and once the floors are done, then pretty much everything's done and will be done except for the bathroom, the boys' bathroom.
Any update on that?
No, but the girls' bathroom is will pretty much be all done this week. All the new cabinets are put in where they were needed. They're putting cove base on the floors today. It's been quite a bit of activity.
So I would say we would have three different aspects of there. You know, the damage that happened because of a pipe break.
Right.
So other than the office and the abatement, we don't even know what we're going to do. All that stuff should be done this week. Then the floor and all that other aspect downstairs, we don't know yet.
Pretty much most of it, except for, they got to get the plumber back to tie all the rest of the stuff in the bathrooms.
Would it be a good understanding that at least we would have, with all these tests and all this, by the end of the week, we would have a better an outline of when everything will be done on the damage portion of it? I'm going to hold it. I'm trying to get an understanding of like when we can, have a good outline of just the damage portion of the stuff.
Until we have until, again, as I've said before, until that abatement people come in and come up with a plan and what or if we have to do, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
I'm not even going to attempt to.
Well, that's good.
Turn into a full abatement for the areas, which could take a month.
No, you
Or
answered.
we might have to just come in
You
and clean
answered.
up something and the tile will be in Monday morning. We don't know.
You answered the question. Your question was answered that, Glenn, the people are going to be coming in tomorrow, and then the abatement people are going to be coming in after that, and then we'll have a better understanding. Because if we have to do something, we don't even know if we have to do something yet. That's how premature any of these questions are. We don't even know. So, okay.
And from what I understand, in the boys' bathroom, where they couldn't get the inspections on the holes and whatnot, so it's kind of on hold. They can't really do much until that's cleared to cover up and move forward. So today I got a call from a guy from the insurance company investigator for Meyer Insurance. He sent up, specializes in that type of thing, and looked at the holes, and from what I understand, he's instructed the builder on how to repair those holes and that stuff. So,
yep.
And he's supposed to, and he wanted the building inspector's number, so I gave it to him. He's going to call him in the morning to talk to him about that situation on just the affected area holes. And he looked at the other holes, and they're going to need to be addressed. So some of the other ones apparently. So that's where we are on that.
So what, you lost me a little bit there, Gary. So in the bathroom, you're talking about the holes in the wall, in the ceiling, where you talking about? Both.
The
There's
one-
holes in the walls, there's holes in the ceiling need to be addressed, and the builder couldn't get the answers he needed from the sign off from the building inspector, so he's kind of in limbo.
So they're having, when the pipe burst, it went straight up, so it made a hole up in the ceiling right above it. So we're getting an expert in because to be able to have a better understanding of exactly how to put that back together.
Okay.
And Meyer has given us somebody, and he's come up there, and he's going to give us a report
That's just
telling us how to
on
handle
that
it.
affected area. We still
Correct.
got all the rest of the stuff to deal with. And
Correct.
to do that, we gotta have somebody come in and assess it.
Assess it.
Give us recommendations.
When is that going to happen?
I don't know, that's why I sent you the letter. We need to hire a professional to look at a lot of that stuff.
I thought you called somebody last week from out in Western Mass. He hasn't gotten back to you?
No, well, he did to look at that part, but I need your permission to hire somebody to do it. I can't just, it could turn into something, more major.
Well, my understanding that we need to have a better understanding of what's there and what's not there, and to have
That's
some
right.
type of plan anyway.
Right.
And so I thought that's what I
This
thought.
company was just a fire part of it. I think we need somebody to look at any issues, other issues that are there also. That could be code issues.
Would it be have a better understanding that if we walked through the building with our building inspector?
You can do that, but I don't know if it's, hasn't he already said that the superintendent wants a certificate of occupancy, and he says he's not gonna give you a certificate of occupancy, so what's the point?
That's not, I don't think he said that. The building inspector said that? I don't think he said, I thought he said to me that we have a building, we have a
New one, I should say.
yeah, but a new, well, why don't, we need, this is all new information to me, so that he was, all that, so we need to, I think we need to have a conversation with him. Because I thought, my understanding was that you called somebody out because we have some issues with some holes in the ceilings and stuff, and he was going to come out and give us some recommendations on how to take care of that and have a plan to go forward and make sure that plan going forward would be suitable for our building inspector, our fire department, and everybody, and then we would present that plan and start working on that plan and present that plan when everything's done to everyone, and to make sure that everybody's happy with that. So, and I thought the guy in the western part of the state was that going to be that person. So if that's not the person, we have money.
I think
we have
to get somebody.
we have money there, and part of everything, I thought it was already done. So you don't need our money. We need somebody up there to tell us what the heck to do.
Right, exactly.
Well, I would.
So that
I would recommend that we go forward with, is this person capable of doing that, or do we need to get another?
Well, there's so many people involved, we get an abatement in school, so you should do this test more, better tests than this. There's so many people involved, everything's turning in different directions, and it's pretty hard to get anything done. So I've gone as far as I can go. We need a professional in to finish up the job. That's it, plain and simple.
well, that's what I thought we were doing.
Engineers consider to be exempt from 30B.
So, I mean, I thought we had three things that we were dealing with. We had the destruction due to the water pipe. We had a problem with the electrical, which we have taken care of, right? And we have taken care of it to everybody's satisfactory, so the school can reopen. But we understand that we have to take care of something during the summer, and then we have holes in the ceiling that we have to take care of. So, or at least have a plan that's satisfactory to everybody: the building inspector, the fire department, the board of health, and the school department, so the kids can get back in there as soon as possible. Those three aspects, have been running kind of parallel, but not. And so one of them is the abatement and all that kind of stuff. That's taking care of itself.
Well, maybe. We don't know for sure.
That it's
So
going
they
to take
come
care
in-
of itself? How is that not going to take care of itself?
How isn't it?
I mean, if
Well, Glenn, we
Because
only know.
there's five different things
It
running
hasn't been-
around, and you,
no.
that's another issue why you need the professional engineer to be there to see the rest of this through.
No, I want to.
Because every
I don't
time
have
we
a.
get close to something, there's another monkey wrench thrown in it.
No,
Well, we took this test, and this says this. This test.
So we're saying that. Okay, we're saying that I have to have a better understanding. 'Cause I'm confused beyond belief right now. So and now I think our citizens are going to be.
So is
and
everybody else.
and it's
I know,
going. But I
we
mean.
can't just throw our hands up in the air. We have to.
Yeah,
address
that's
this
what I don't
problem.
understand. I thought we were going on. I thought everything was being taken care of. That's why I'm very surprised. So okay, but we have the electrical problem, right? That's behind us, right?
It isn't behind us, but
No.
we're
It's not
working
behind
on
us.
it.
We're
No, but I
working
mean
on it.
behind. Listen to me. When I say behind us, okay, our goal is to open the school up as fast as we possibly can. Correct?
That's your goal. The school's goal is to make sure everything is hunky-dory and everything is perfect before they want to go in it. They're in no hurry to go back. So,
Okay, Gary, okay, can I just finish a couple of sentences?
Yeah.
Okay, when I say that electrical is behind us, and everybody goes, no, it's not, because we have to fix it in the summer. I realize that. Let's just play make-believe. This is Glenn's goals. To me, there are three aspects that we have to fix up there that we found out, okay, is the electrical, okay? And so tell me now if it's not. My understanding is that we have a problem with some relay switches and some stuff there.
Related to the generator.
And related to the generator. We all understand that, and we had somebody look at it. We had our electrical inspector look at it, make recommendations, and we're going to take some things off that, and it's all going to work, and that's not going to prohibit the kids to get back into school, and we understand that we need to take care of that and get a new generator and do the switches, and we're going to take care of that in the summer. That's when I say put behind us. I know it's not put behind us, but it's good enough to be put behind us, and everybody understands it.
Got a plan.
So no, but is that?
Additionally, Glenn, the electrical inspector is okay with it.
That's what I'm saying. So that's when I say it's behind us. It's behind us. So then we have the destruction that happened with the sprinkler head, and then during that destruction with the sprinkler head, that we found potentially. We found some things that could be asbestos because of the tiles, and we're taking care of that. I mean, when I say it's going through a line, it's being taken care of. Do we need an engineer to oversee that aspect of it?
what, on the electrical?
No. We're on the flooring and stuff. There's destruction happened. Do we need an engineer to come in and help us finish the project in the things that occurred because of the...
Yes, I believe you do. Because when you get 3/4 through it, there's going to be another question that we can't answer. There'll be another holdup. When you get that done, there'll be something else. Yeah, that's the way I see it happen.
Okay, and then because of the hole in the ceiling, and then we took down some tiles, we found some holes that through construction and through the school department in the town, over the years, there are some holes that have penetrated there, and we have to get those fixed, or have a good plan that's suitable for the building inspector, the fire department, and the school department that feels comfortable that the building is safe for the kids to go back in. And that's the one I thought was being taken care of by somebody out in the western part of the, not being going to be looked at and give us recommendations. That's what I thought that was happening. So that's not happening.
Well, I'm not sure they could do the whole thing. They can come in and look at it and say, this is the code for this, that's the code for that. You still got to do it. You still got to have an engineer put it on the plan It's not a 5-minute job. The building's 100,000 square feet. It's
I,
gonna be
I, I
a big
never,
job.
I never said it was.
I know, but that's why we need somebody to come in. Then if something else crops up, we got somebody that can handle it. We'll continue on the way we're going until we can get somebody on board. Because I just think there'll be something else coming up down the road before we say we can go back in the school. There'll be something else coming up.
Who's bringing these something else's up?
Obviously, the school is.
Okay.
Questioned the way we're doing the asbestos testing. They had their own test. They did a better test, which showed something that our test didn't show. You know, we had the air test done, and he talked to the guy, and he said, oh, it's fine to come back in and do this, and then he sends that letter with all the things in it that, you know, should do these other tests. We need somebody, a professional engineer on staff to deal with all this stuff. We're not capable of doing it. We're not engineers. That's why the bill inspector can't, there's just too much there.
Okay.
These holes and that stuff, you know, it's all an after thing. It come up after. Well, what else can come up? I don't know. We got one spot that's, no, there could be some other tiles coming up we're gonna have to address, so.
Well, we can't do it, I mean, when the superintendent sends us a letter and says that I want you to be put on notice that potential tiles could come up in 5 years. I don't I don't think we need an engineer for that. You know what I mean by that?
Then we'll ignore that, then we'll just.
No, I'm not asking to annoy. See, Gary, I don't know. Maybe we do to get a better understanding, because obviously I thought we were going to be. I don't know. I'm at wit's end right now about it, because I thought.
I never thought everything would blossom out the way it's blossomed out. I figured we could come in and fix the things that went wrong and we're all set. Well, apparently it didn't happen that way. We got people asking other questions, and you got to address them.
Well,
And I can't address all those questions. The building inspector can't address everything. You got to get a professional engineer to handle it. That's what it's turned into. It's that simple.
Okay, because I thought we were already down this line. I thought we were getting professionals in there to already do it. That's what I thought we were doing. So speak to me about, this is all new information to me about now all the different tests and this and that. Do we?
It's in the second letter that Jen wrote us, based her story.
So,
Okay. I don't know what to ask anymore.
I have, just in terms of, two things, just in terms of additional testing. So I'm completely in favor of when the to the satisfaction of the abatement company that has been completed, that we do retesting of the air and the solid surfaces near where the abatement is done, that we redo that before anyone is allowed in the building. That just only makes sense. The testing is relatively rapid. It doesn't take weeks to accomplish it. We'd be remiss in not retesting after areas had been vac with the HEPA vacuums, and also the floors had been sealed up.
We've got
to retest all.
Well, it's going to have to be a more stringent test, because they
I
did
don't
a basic
see
test.
any reason why we couldn't do a more stringent test.
I don't understand, when you say we have to do a more stringent test.
Glenn, I did a little research on this over
No,
the
but
weekend,
hold on.
but
When we say we have to do a
wait
more
second.
stringent test, why aren't we doing
Let
it?
me talk for a second. There are certain of they're all different ways of using different types of microscopy to analyze fibers. Some of them, these can be different types of fibers. One can be wool, one can be gypsum, one can be asbestos, but they all look like fibers. So some of the tests just test fibers. So if you don't find any fibers, they say the air is good. But with all tests, certain things are okay. You say there doesn't appear to be anything there. But you can also find smaller fibers with the so-called TEM testing. You can find smaller fibers that maybe were missed with the other. It's unlikely, but it is a possibility.
Well,
so I would say that you go with at the end, you go with the more stringent testing to see whether anything was there. It's unlikely that it is, but there's no harm in testing more carefully. There's more than one way to test for a lot of different things. The industry recognizes that certain tests work better for certain things, and there aren't necessarily even industry standards for what should be done in every case. But I don't think I don't think that those questions are a holdup. We deal with we know that there is a few areas that we have to do the abatement on. We get cracking on doing that, and then when we're done, there is no reason not to do further testing. We'd be remiss in just
why?
saying everything is cool.
Who's questioning that? I think we all thought we were going to do testing before we did. I would agree with everything you're saying.
But you were saying, what do you mean by more stringent testing?
Well, no, see, because I'm sorry that I said that, because I already thought that was in place. I thought we were following this HERA plan, whatever that thing is. I thought we were doing the most we possibly can and making sure the building is safe, and that plan was already in place, and we're going to make sure that building is totally safe before those children walk back in. That's when I was kind of questioning, because I thought we were already doing all of that. And that when I say those things will work themselves out, because there is and I wasn't trying to be lax by saying that, I know there is a process that's in place to take care of all this, and we hired that professional company, which I guess was the recommendation from the school department at that meeting that we had, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the ones that they were using. They were happy that we were using them. They suggested to use that company, and I thought they were going to put a plan in place that was going to follow their plan, because by the federal government, we have to follow their plan. And so that's why I'm surprised that we would even have that conversation, but because I thought it was already being done. So I'm more confused right now than I've ever been. I don't understand.
Well, like I said, they're doing another test tomorrow, and as soon as they get the results for that, the abatement person is coming to do up the plan, per se, whatever that plan will be.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get that, we know what we got to do, then we'll
do it, and then the floor goes down.
Something else is thrown into the mix.
Well, not necessarily. The other question is, in some fashion, we have to have a plan in place what to do with the
ceiling,
holes in the ceiling.
Well, that's what I thought that was happening.
I thought we were going to.
That's kind of the elephant room.
No, but I thought that was already going on.
No, but that obviously it isn't.
So let's do it.
We have to do something about that immediately.
Do we need an engineer for that?
I don't know if we need an engineer for that. I don't want to hire an engineer to stand up there and tell us, okay, the abatement's doing this, the abatement's doing that, the abatement's doing that. I thought we were going to hire a professional or consultant to tell us exactly what needs to be done and have a plan in place. That's what I thought, somebody who deals with that. So now why can't the person that this Lee guy is bringing up, I thought...
He's working just for the affected area on the request of the builder to get somebody in so he can continue. That's all he's addressing.
I understand, but is that person qualified? If that person's qualified to do that,
help us on more.
I'll ask him. When he asked if we were, he said the builder said he was going to get his own person in to assess on that. I said, oh, can we pull off him to use it to look at the other holes? No, that's as far as we're going on, so we ain't doing any more up there. All the aggravation we've had with everybody, but they're only going to do what they're there for. As soon as they can get out of town,
well, I understand that.
They're not doing anything extra for us up there.
Okay.
Well, I'm not asking anybody to do anything extra. I'm asking,
Well, you
I'm
want-
asking for them, I'm asking to pay them. I'm asking because I was under the
As
impression,
an additional job.
as an additional job,
Right.
I was under the impression, we got a name from some guy in the western part of the state, that person was gonna get back to you, that person was gonna give us a recommendation on how we were going to proceed forward with the proper thing, and then we were going to talk about that. And then we sat here and we sit with the fire department, and then that plan in place, we were going to see if that was all gonna work, and put that and talk to the building inspector, and then present that plan as a safe building to the superintendent. That was our action plan. So I don't know what fell apart in that action plan, but that was our plan. If I'm not, wasn't it?
Yes, but okay. But
Okay, so it's fallen apart, so now we have to get it back together.
We can keep going the individual route every time something comes up. I'd rather have somebody that can handle that and any other issues that come up down the road.
But I'm-
I don't know if there is such a person.
But it's not,
That knows
but why don't we,
every-
No, that's why you hire the consultant engineer. They get the person
Good.
specific to the issue.
but why can't we get the stuff done that we know about?
It is being done.
So we're gonna have a recommendation about the ceilings when?
No, we are not on their affected part of the seal.
But not the affected.
I'm talking about the
all
non-affected ceilings.
We need a to,
Okay. We need, I think we're just going on in circles right now. And one thing I think that, which is unfortunate, is that it's going to be in the paper that it seems like we don't have control over our own building. And I don't want that to get out. If nothing else, is that it would
That's why I'm asking to have that person, so we do have complete control of the project.
But we're not going to have complete control of the project because we're dealing with the school department. I think that's what you're telling us. So I think we need to go back and look at the lease a little bit longer. Joe, you might want to be here for this one. Where's he going, the men's room? That's what I think we need to do.
well,
I think we need, I think the Board of Selectmen at this point need, because I don't know. I don't want to, you know what? I'm not going to speak any longer because I might say things I don't know, but. Can we sleep on this, Gary, and we can get back to you tomorrow about it, but this is going to be first on our list and talk about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because we can't do anything about it tonight anyway, and you have money already appropriated up there, an engineer and stuff, so forth and so on, doesn't need to go through
See
the,
what this guy says about the insurance guys, the holes, and if you just want to continue on that on a specific issue thing, then we'll go ahead with that.
but if you can get him to not necessarily working for the, but for the general contractor, but working for us on the additional holes.
I will find that out.
Ask him if he'll do that. Yeah.
Most definitely.
I think we hear you. I think we hear you. Honestly, I don't
It's
want,
just frustrating.
I would agree with you.
Everybody's coming in every direction and
I
I
know.
can't get nothing, I can't continue like this. It ain't working.
I understand. So, Joe, we have a lease with the school district. It says very specifically stuff. Do we want to go through that tonight and maybe talk about that, or should we just kind of let this?
Is there something of value in it?
There's a lot of value in it, but I don't want it to.
I've gone over the lease a little bit. I think what you should do is let me write you a memo on it, and then cover the points that way you can get questions out. That way you can address it.
Thank you. I would ask that to be.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. Okay. But we're listening, we understand. Let's think, we got to dissect a few things here tonight, Gary, and we'll get back to you tomorrow.
Pull out one brick and another one it seems like I know.
So, we want to get the kids back as fast as
I
possible.
realize that.
And I understand that it's very frustrating and you're dealing with a bunch of people and you're dealing with a bunch of directions. I understand that. We're going to try to rectify that for you, okay? And then we have a big elephant in the room of a building that had a lot of water damages, then opened up some stuff that we probably need to take care of. So no matter what, I think we should address after we get the kids back in, hopefully that will be sooner or later. If we need an engineer to do that or not, we have to address that. But I think then we need a good evaluation of an engineer after the fact and going through the school. So then
we
yeah,
start
then we start chipping away at the bigger stuff.
The last assessment was done in 2009.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff we had in the first one wasn't addressed, and there's a 10-year plan for the school that they put out every year or whatever. All that stuff needs to eventually be looked at and reassessed, and timelines, and
We agree.
Yep.
that's what I'm basically.
Is the building inspector in tomorrow?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Can we have the generator?
What's that?
No.
Generator, is that adjustment?
We did.
Did what?
I thought we did. Was there a question?
What's the question?
What,
What's the question?
wasn't that why you were coming in tonight?
No, it's paid school
Well,
update.
part of it, and that, you said we'd talk about it next week, and I asked you, you wanna just do minimally, you wanna do a generator, or wanted to start?
But
with
none of that's going to happen until the summertime, right? But we do need to have monies to have it engineered, and then it will be done in the summer.
We got money to do the engineering.
So we already know.
But Glenn, he wants to know, do we want to engineer just the fix or the new
I
generator?
need to know to have an article to.
Gary,
fix it
Gary,
this summer, we
Gary.
can.
I'm going to go with whatever you suggest.
All right, I should recommend we do the generator.
Then I would ask them to engineer that. You're the one who's up there. You're the one dealing with it. You're the one who met with the building inspector.
It's on the list for, was moved out to 2019 to 20.
It's on the list anyway.
It was 150,000, and he thought it'd be 175,000 to do all that.
Oh, wow.
No, it's going back to that big wedding thing, you know. Everything costs so much. That's what it's there for.
Is it eligible for community preservation funds? And Mr. McCarron said absolutely.
Sure it is, it's protecting our assets.
Just ask the question.
Well, we need to have it engineered. And you're saying that if we fix the things inside the building, the generator is undersized, and we're still going to have potentially the same problems we're having now, but we've just fixed it. We've just fixed.
Engineer a new generator.
Yeah, we've just.
It seems,
We've just fixed. We're just going to put a Band-Aid on it rather than fixing it.
it's like we put in a new transmission, but the engine still is underpowered.
And the generator will be
that's what it
sized,
would
the
be.
generator's only gonna be sized to run what it should be running now.
Right.
The heat is the essential things, basically. That's it.
But get it. You have money to get it engineered, and then we'll deal with paying it maybe in the
Right,
fall.
That's why I have, doing what?
Paying it in the fall, or you want it in this spring?
It's the electrical inspector said it needs to be taken care of before school starts.
So where are you getting the money?
That's why there's an article before you for a paid school, 100,000 with a question mark on it. Till I know that number, I don't have a number.
So, okay, I thought I read that about the Children's Castle and all.
For every, you know.
Yeah, I read all the stuff. Okay, so that's what that is for?
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause
So I
we
read
knew
a bunch of
something-
other stuff.
something was coming up, and now we get the whole issue to be more.
Good.
I'd rather, you have an article for $100,000 for a generator.
No,
Just
it
for
was
the-
he needed to put a placeholder in there, and he put it in there.
Stop. Okay,
You know, we got like 60 left, that's not even gonna be, you know,
Right.
close. So I threw that in with a question mark, when we get more answers by the time,
So we need the
drop dead
generator
Dave
by
and
the
put a
summer,
number on it.
right?
Hmm?
We need a generator by the summer, is that what you're saying?
The letter that he gave you stated that
Okay,
they adjusted the
Oh,
things to
hold on.
get through the school year, and before school starts, he wants the situation permanently addressed.
let him engineer it. And is this, if we say yes to the engineering, is he gonna have a number before town meeting?
Yeah,
He has to.
How quickly can he engineer?
we'll have a more, if not exact, we'll have a more accurate estimated number, yeah.
I'd really like.
Because we gotta put that out to bid, you ain't gonna have a number, just what the engineer thinks it's gonna cost. You ain't gonna know that till you
Well,
actually bid it.
Right.
that's how we have it, that's how we have to do it every time.
That's how it works.
That's the
Yeah.
system, that's the
We'll have a
system.
number by town, that won't be a problem.
Okay. Let's go.
And on any other things, we have to do right away.
Okay.
I know.
It's
I understand. Thank you.
an old building, you're gonna have issues. And, when something small happens, you open up a can of worms and everything you touch, potentially.
We've got 3 cans of worms.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask that we take one thing out of order, the town communications, please?
Sure.
That's their here. Are you here for any specific thing, Paul? Are you here just to support your friend Gary Bill? You did a real good job. You left 3 times and you sat back there and didn't say a word. Good job. No, just kidding. Come on up. It'll be a late one tonight. You need any quotes? They're coming from us. So, Cable Advisory Committee, the vast committee that it is, has been we need a cable advisory thing, which we've been saying it since Jim Teal, that a policy from the Board of Selectmen that says what we can put on there, what we can't put on there, and so forth and so on, because we're getting a lot of new programming.
You're talking about cable, okay.
Cable. So when discussing that, I kind of piggybacked that on because we've been talking about a communications plan and a whole new thing.
With Mary's new role.
Mary's new role. We make the policy, and so with the help of these guys, what we have in front of you tonight. So I'd actually like to go through it tonight, have them with us, see if we have any suggestions, and then have Julie go over, meet with Mary and see if she has any suggestions and talk to Mary about it, and then come back and then vote on some type of communications policy so we can get started with it. And obviously we have a new town manager coming in, and we always can amend it, but we want to get started with it. We have to have something concrete so we can move forward. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, it's the first time we're seeing this, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you read it 3 or 4 times before tonight. We made sure you had it.
I read it once.
Okay, good. So we're going to go through it tonight, if that's okay, really quick. It'll take like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And then
I'm not going to read it, individually. I'll just kind of give you the broad strokes. So what we just came together and created considerations for a communications media plan for the town of West Newbury, and looked at a bunch of different towns that have already done this in larger size cities and then smaller towns. And basically the situation is that, technology has disrupted the traditional means of communicating with town residents.
People know things.
They know things instantly. Newspapers, unfortunately, are waning, and we have new avenues now to get things going. Yeah. But due to its small population and its open town meeting structure, West Newbury has fairly good communications with its citizens. But we think that improved dialogue would create more efficient operations and increased satisfaction. And so basically there's an increasing need for real-time information transmission. Our goals for this would be to create efficiencies and increase productivity of the town functions by developing a two-way communications platform. And then to increase public access points for interested parties, whether they're residents, businesses, visitors, the media, general public, to be informed about town government and community issues, initiatives, and services. So the reality of a two-way interaction is that you've got to expect public feedback, questions, and criticism. You know, you're putting things out there. I know you guys are used to criticism, so and hearing from the people, but it's that underscores the need to have a policy in place and a procedures and a way to go forward. You know, social media offers both an opportunity and a risk to the town and individual departments. You can't compromise data confidentiality and integrity, and you've got to have the same kind of conduct, principles, and guidelines for town employees that they're doing already in their assigned duties when they use social media. So, you know, again, by establishing social media use policies, protocols, and procedures, the town can reduce these risks. Currently, the town has 4 electronic access points. Its website, email notices, local cable channels, and a YouTube channel where residents can learn about official town activities. And we could, you know, that's great. Let's just boost the use with an enhanced promotion and some other suggestions. We would like to make additional access points via social media and have those cross promoted. Yeah, we do. Yeah. And
But not official town ones.
But they're not official town ones.
Well, some of them are.
There are a few, and I have those in the appendix. There's an appendix 1 and an appendix 2.
Well, there's a Facebook page that says Town of West Newbury.
But it's not run by the town of West Newbury.
It's also a council of agents.
No,
Yeah,
one is run
that
by.
needs to be part of the.
Yeah.
That needs to be part of the. That's why we're here, to get all those things into.
Yeah.
And to put them all under merit.
Yep. So, you know, basically what we would do, or what we would suggest be done is you benchmark and survey. You have, your first step is to figure out what you've got, your assets, and you set priorities based on, you know, where you want to go. So, for example, I don't know how large the current email list is to the residents sign up for. How many subscribers does the town's YouTube channel have?
Seven or eight.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We would like to, we think you should survey the various stakeholders in this program, the town boards, the departments, and then also survey the residents themselves, whether it's.
I don't know if you knew, I mean, we did about a year ago.
Right.
Town manager one?
It was part of that, but part of the feedback that we got from the focus groups was that we don't communicate well enough. That's what people said. And they want broad communication. In order to reach people, you just can't put it in 1 or 2 places.
Right.
Well, that's what when you
That's
get.
exactly what we're saying.
That's well. That's what when you get back to them. That was part of our discussion was that survey, which was a small sampling on that respect, kind of.
I mean, that was where Julie didn't bring it up on the bullet point, creating and reinforcing public access points. You know, in the sense that each access point is going to be a small point.
Right.
But cumulatively and using.
And if they're reinforcing each other.
And using each access point to reinforce all the other access points, you know, the sum of the whole is greater than the individual.
So when you see something on Facebook, you're going to see something on, it has a link or whatever to Twitter, to all, you know, all those, whatever.
I mean, the reality is that you have to capture all the different habits of people, and the habits are different and diverse.
Yep.
So.
And, you know, so yes, there was a survey, and maybe we could do it again, either by requesting on social media or having
this survey
an online public survey, you know, a Survey Monkey thing or something like that. There's
this survey would be a lot more in depth in the sense that you got the feedback that they want better communication. Now the question is okay, for instance,
I can share with you what it was, but you know, maybe it could be more of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, are people aware of the email list? Are people aware of, you know, different ways the access points? Would they find X, Y, and Z interesting? Yeah, or would, you know, that's
exactly the kind of questions we asked.
Okay, well, okay, I was part of that Facebook.
Yeah, but yeah, so I did give some sample draft questions, but again, working collaboratively to try and figure out exactly what it is to make people happy and make it, you know, be a much better, efficient way.
You can look at what was asked in the past. And
Yeah.
how responsive we are.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I think, I mean, it was a big survey, and what we put out, we put out what was germane to the town manager discussion.
Okay.
So there's a lot of other.
Well, great. So you're halfway done.
Well,
No, but I mean, you've started it. You've gotten the benchmarking and figuring out.
Probably needs to be redone.
Yeah. Well, there's ways to do that. And so what the next thing would be to establish an internal communication steering committee and assign roles. And you know, Mary would be, you know, doing things, but that would also include the new town manager, maybe a selectman, some key staff if you need, you know, to get together monthly and set priorities and share information. And the thing that is important is to be proactive in getting the information out and responding to media inquiries quickly so that it doesn't snowball and become more inaccurate. Again, and then collaborate with existing resources. Like you said, there's lots of things out there. We've got Facebook groups, pages, local and regional websites, email lists, committees. So, you know, make certain you reach out to them and get their buy-in on having information sharing protocols.
I think you raised a really good point, like responding to things quickly. It's like, just to use as an example, we leave the building at 5 o'clock and somebody posts something at 5:30. There's like 43 posts by 9 o'clock, and you come in the next day at 8 o'clock and say, whoa.
Yeah.
But we will. I mean, that will be part of us researching, and we'll, because this isn't going to be easy to do it right. It's going to be tough. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's what.
Unlike the head executives in the country, people probably are. I'm not going to be tweeting at 3 in the morning.
I mean, Joe,
this is not happening.
I think that scenario would be covered in the policy because, you know, just because, you know, like over the weekend I saw something posted locally about the school system, different than what you guys are talking about. And it's like, oh my God. You know, it kind of, I don't know if it blew up, but I don't know if that's an official time, you know, I don't know if you know, that would be part of the policy. Do you answer to rumors?
That's important because
maybe that's something elected as an individual might want to do as opposed to
that's a very good point.
The town. You know, so that's some of the, you know, details of a policy of what you would do and what you wouldn't want to do.
when you go back to when we go back to the back, when you see there is a lot of things and people mistake
what's official and what's not.
What's official and what's not, and what's important is having policies that we don't. And Joe, when we saw that person out in out at Holy Cross from Auburn, when she said about her stuff, which we had talked about, that was very, very important. Is you don't play around with all the ones that aren't the official ones. You just post it on the official ones, and you stay true to that.
We saw that at somebody spoke about that at the MMA. There's some kind of official badge or something. So I don't think we have any official sites, including the.
Yeah, you have to you
Yep.
have to be the town of West Newbury official Twitter site or whatever.
Right.
Including the YouTube one is needed.
Yeah. So, you know, after you've kind of done the planning, then you implement it. And it's basically, there's two kind of things. There's create a social media plan, which is, again, figuring out what you're going to say and when, and a communications policy. So it's having both of those. Communications policy is broader. It includes all the different regular traditional media and then the new social media things. And that would cover things like, you know, interacting with the media, who does it, who speaks, who's the designated spokesperson, you know.
Effective July 1st.
No, but are you done with that bullet point?
Go ahead.
Because it's very interesting. Now, I think the police department has their own communications and their own.
There's a lot.
So we have to. We had that discussion also. We have to bring it all into one umbrella and be able to. You know what I mean? And
or recognized as a specialty with public safety.
Or recognize
exactly.
or recognize that, but we don't. You know, I was a selectman for I don't know how many years, and when we had a mishap here in town, I didn't realize, you know, that there is a communications company out there writing a message that's going to be read by somebody, that's going to be, you know, the message of the town. So, you know, it's important that we have a better understanding of exactly who's is disseminating the information and where it's coming from. So we have one message.
Yeah, so then the next thing would be, you know, present the guidelines to staff, the stakeholders, provide training if necessary, and, you know, distribute it. Let everybody know it's out there, it's in printed form, it's online on your website, it's explained in meetings as, you know, as necessary. Go into the different departments or, you know, committee meetings, et cetera. The website is good. It's, you know, and it's controlled by the town. It's a primary way to keep everybody informed and involved. What we would suggest is creating prominent links on the homepage to social media platforms and community resource pages. There's a lot of, like, who do you call for this, but it doesn't have all the different ways that yeah, Facebook,
Yeah, all the different links.
Twitter,
The same thing. What
YouTube link.
the thing, like
meetings.
you said, the little pieces of do it. You know, the one clearinghouse. You go to the town website. You want the things to send them out to all the other avenues and send them back in to all the different places where people get their media.
Every asset or every access point promotes and has links to all the other places, including even, like, I don't know if it's possible to talk to Adam about throwing up, you know, a lower third on the meetings to say that things are available on YouTube.
Yep,
Yeah.
we've talked about that.
And posting news releases about town issues and photos and that sort of thing to keep the content fresh on the website and encourage people to come back, not just when they're looking up, you know, what the dog catcher
Number is, or
this
yeah,
that,
when my
yeah, to do that. Adding the links of the meetings to encourage public viewing and participation. And again, posting
What?
the social media policy online so that everybody knows it's clear and transparent.
Sometimes easier said than done.
Well, we're going to have a whole plan. We're going to work with it,
And you can decide. I'm
and then
gonna
you have
only
to-
issue two press releases a year, you know, but you kind of figure out what you're going to do and
that's
why.
if you have a plan and you have an understanding of what you're going to do. It's a lot easier than going off in a bunch of different directions. And the cable committee can help in that respect.
I mean, if I could jump in on the planning, you know, particularly with social media, it's a content beast.
Right.
You know, you constantly want to tickle. So
You don't want to tickle it, you want to feed it.
Feed it, yeah. So
Okay.
the point would be is that you don't want to be in a reactionary situation. You want to be in a proactive. You don't want to go in on a Monday saying, "Oh, I've got to figure out 5 things for this week."
You want to plan and schedule. You don't want it to be dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you don't want to be reactive too. You know, you just want to provide information, and you know, again, not be reactive if there's a crazy, you know, my opinion would be if there's a crazy rumor out there, maybe the town doesn't want to get involved in it, but that's part of the policy.
Yeah, so come, you know, creating your master list of assets and projects coming up, things, key milestones, the bicentennial? What? Yeah.
Bicentennial.
Yeah. Elections, regulatory decisions, all that sort of thing, special events. And then just, you know, going on to the cable.
Yeah, and just even add, I mean, like feeding Facebook on, you know, Monday night meeting at the Selectmen. I mean, just, you know, finance committees. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be rocket science in terms of what you're doing. But Julie asked me to speak more on also utilizing the cable access stations as resources. And, you know, again, tying in more functions about what the town does. And just speaking to myself, my personal goal would be to, you know, have people at, let's say, town meeting be a little bit more familiar with town operations as opposed to, you know, using the floor of the town meeting to kind of, you know, explain some of those basics, which I think we've all experienced. So, aside from covering the selectmen's meeting and hopefully expanding it to the finance committee and utilizing YouTube, perhaps create programming around some of the functions of the boards of the departments that are, educating the citizens. And, it could be just a 5 or a 10-minute thing, but after you do 4 or 5 or 6 boards, you have yourself actually a half-hour program about the functions of the town.
Yeah, and we get more content out there besides the board stuff.
Well, I mean, I think they're working.
We are working on it, and we do have more content, but we don't have town-related content.
That's
Yeah.
I'm talking about that.
Okay,
That's
so
that's where I'm going with that.
That's where we're gonna work on that, with meetings and having the upstairs, stuff. We have to get the other boards and committees wanting
To do that.
And I think one way to do that is to potentially, look, the cable access, cable advisory committee, look at somehow creating content that is beneficial to these boards so they can get buy-in. Like, sort of the health department, why are we recycling? Well, let's tell people that we're trying to save money, the best way to maximize it.
Which we talked about, because this was something that you had talked about, Archie.
What?
About the recycling, about like doing a program over that and going over and interviewing Mello, going up to the recycling thing, just putting that on everyone. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean, why is it important? Why do we want to do it? And then even, basic instructional things, in terms of what goes where and what doesn't. But I mean, just a couple of other ideas, stuff I was brainstorming. I mean, the open space committee and the trail program. And the benefit is, I mean, open space, I'd imagine, is always looking for volunteers to help groom the trails. And so, hopefully you're creating a lot of, yeah, exactly. And then get people aware of what things that they might be able to participate in. I mean, even look at like the finance committee. I mean, what is the budget process? What percent of the budget, and again, just facts, what percentage of the budget goes to school, goes to this, goes to that?
I think there'd be 1% of the population that would watch it.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we've always tried, like with the garden club stuff, and I've tried to get the programming on. And
the point would be, if I could, is promotion and cross promotion. So now that you're starting to create some video assets, you can take maybe, if it was a 5-minute thing, you can take 3 minutes or 30 seconds of it, of a video clip, and use that on Facebook. Now, not to get too much in the weeds, but just because you might have 1,000 Facebook friends doesn't mean that 1,000 people, when you post something, 1,000 people get it. But if you use video, you have a greater potential to hit more people. And so when you're using little video clips of, hey, the town meeting's coming up, thought you'd be interested in, here's something they put together to understand the budget process. And at the end of the 30-second thing, you can learn more about this on YouTube. You can learn more about this on the cable access. So you're building in all that promotional, synergy, and basic things too. I mean, back to promotion. I mean, a poster at the pizza joint. A poster at the market. I mean, essentially, in many ways, what we're trying to conceptually do is take the bulletin boards that are all around the town hall here, and take these bulletin boards full of all this information,
Put it online.
and put it elsewhere. Put it at all these different access points that we're talking about.
so you get it. This is what we're working on. I don't want to.
Well, that's our that's our overview. I
Yeah,
guess
that's
the
the
question is
overview.
discussion time.
About a lot of this stuff over the last 6 months.
We've talked about it all, but it's time that we put it down on paper and then we work with it and come up with some policies. You okay, Archie, or you sleep?
No, I'm good. But I am-
I'm sleepy, but
I'm trying to move it on because I
Yeah.
think the
Yeah.
next point
Yeah.
is then, what would you like to see from us?
And if I may, there's also 2 appendices. The first one says what we've got and just some general recommendations.
Good and bad summary.
Yeah, good and bad, what is going on. And the second one is all the social media sources. And just kind of a quick, this is an overview. I can't say it's fully comprehensive, but I did lots of search terms and found these.
So
So in terms of like individual boards, police, fire, EMA, library, planning, all that, their individual Facebook pages.
right.
There's also
Oh, okay.
Thanks to Joe. Thanks to you.
a except for.
And I don't know, the chief isn't here. I mean, as a side note, I mean, I do know that a lot of police departments are taking advantage of social media. I mean, you know, unfortunately, if there is a big emergency in town, yeah, and I, you know, I think, you know, I think residents, I guess we'd figure it out real quickly that, oh my God, what's going on? Get on Twitter, look at a hashtag.
You know,
West
the
Newbury.
earthquake, everybody, you know, I
Yeah.
immediately went to Twitter and Facebook to say, what was that?
Yeah, and again, I mean, this would be part of the social media policy. Do you get involved in this or not? When certain streets lose power, you know.
No, I think it's a good point that Julie just made, like the earthquake. You know, you talk about the across platforms. It was immediately on the EMA page and the town page.
Right.
But it was not, I didn't see it anywhere else.
Right.
So unless you're like looking at that.
Right.
You missed it.
And that's the whole thing about all the access points and et cetera, you know, trying to get it out there, you know.
So we thought we'd come here, try to refine this more, have Julie, whatever, talk to Mary, have a better understanding.
Mary's been working quite extensively internally with employees and boards and committees, so excellent resource for what she's been able to do and what they've been able to do and what the obstacles are too. So I would say
I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, this is a policy, but then we have to have a better understanding of how it's going to be implemented. If it's not going to be implemented, and a lot of this, I don't think, you know, Mary's going to be able to handle a lot of it, but there's going to be other stuff that needs to be done externally that can help also.
What did pipe stays?
talked about a video of recycling the pipes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, all that
Right,
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, exactly.
So, if you want to give the content of that surveys to them?
Yeah, I'll be glad.
I know Kevin took it, we had talked about it when that was happening.
Yeah, I did it too.
And then have them meet with Mary just to get a better understanding of what we're doing now and where we can go? What do you think, Mary? Michael, please.
Thank you. This is great information you guys put together. Great start. So I've been working with the departments and trying to just really educating them, trying to get them to understand how this can benefit them and the phone calls and the interruptions and just getting them to realize the impact that it can have on their day-to-day. And teaching them how to use it.
Right.
Because I don't have the time to manage all those pages. So that's where I've been at. I've done a lot of training, and I think we've come far.
Come very far.
We have made an impact. Is there more? Absolutely. I would agree with everything that you have here. My issue is time. Okay. I've been given a task this assignment, but until the switchover happens here at the town offices, I am already maxed out. So I've been trying to sneak this in and make it happen when I can, and it's more reactive versus, you know, being able to really sit down and say, what can I do to make this pop and make this be proactive, as you had said. I agree with all that. Would love to be able to work on it. I think we talked about April 2nd. Annie's going to start doing some training
When you say
and
work on it,
taking
what does
over
that mean?
my some of my jobs so I can kind of move over. But you know, it's
What does that mean, working on? I don't understand what you mean.
working on it, meaning.
When you're saying you're not going to have time to work on it, what is your expectations with this right here that you don't have time to work on until after April? So I have a better understanding.
Well,
Yeah.
what you've given here is what you want to work on, correct?
Well, I think maybe when you say work on, what does that mean, work on? Like refining it?
What you're looking to do here.
Implement it.
Implement it.
No, we're not looking, no.
Policies.
Glenn, adding links to the website and all that stuff takes work.
Right.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
hold on, see, can we stop for a minute, slow down, because that's not my intention at all, and I thought that's what your intention was, so I have to have a better understanding of it. That's not what the intention is, okay, to add things and get stuff done. This is an outline of how we should proceed, so, in right, wrong, gonna be changed and stuff, so we can make policy. So I thought you'd be a good resource, so you would give them information, not about what's going on and how we're doing it, but like, have a good understanding of just what's going on, not implementing anything or creating anything. Then we would come back and create the policies, then what you're going to follow, or whomever's going to follow through with it. So implementing stuff, no, or any of that stuff, absolutely not. You don't have enough time for that. But we're way away from that because we don't even have the policies in place to be able to know what we're implementing. We need to work on the policies and get those.
So the social media policy.
That's a good.
He's talking about the new stuff. You are the website manager.
Yeah, exactly. You're continuing.
I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just saying, hey, this is what we want to do, and maybe then we don't have to meet with you at all.
Social media policy is where you're gonna start.
The new stuff. Well,
Yeah.
that's part of it.
And it's part of it, right, and that's what I'm saying here.
Well, the social media policy is going to have everything incorporated into it, how we're going to run it. That's what it's going to do.
Yeah, but I thought we were talking more broader. We're talking
We are.
social media is an element.
Yes, exactly. It's going to be part of it. So the implementation is going to happen, you know what I mean,
Once the policy's in place.
Well, you're going to keep on doing what you're doing because it's good. Yeah, I mean we're not trying to
I
disrupt that.
understand.
Yeah,
get that.
and I know you're flat out. It's just kind of getting. We just put down. We did a brain dump of what we think if you were going to do something like this. Here's what we would suggest.
So, okay, so
Yeah.
for a suggestion to move forward, why don't you have a conversation, because I think you can get a lot of
Yeah.
thoughts. You know, we just saw this for the first time tonight, so I think
Yeah.
we need to digest
Yeah.
everything, and come back at a future meeting and have, after we thought about it.
I mean, having a policy for what we're doing now, just in terms of employees, what's acceptable to put on official websites versus your private communications, your private Twitter page. I think we need to do that ASAP.
Well, yeah, I think that's what Glenn dragged us in for.
And like I said earlier, other towns have done that. We can cut and paste 2 or 3 towns things and do that.
I wish I would agree, but I don't want to step on people's toes. Mary's straight out, okay?
No, but that doesn't have anything to do with
that's what I mean. So that's what I want to do. I want to get everything in place, okay? So when we do make that transition, when she's not straight out and the job's changed, then all those policies and procedures will be in place, and that's basically her job description, so to speak. That'll be part of it. This, you know what I mean? This is how we handle the communications. Yeah. So that's when I said to you about didn't want to step on your toes because you do a lot. So I thought because you're going to end up doing it, you might want to be part of setting the policy. But if you're not, and that's
So
fine.
that's where the start is. So we start with the policy.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to start with everything. By the time we finish with this, we're going to have a policy that is how we're going to Facebook, how we're going to communicate to people, so forth, and this is how we're going to do.
Okay, so.
No?
Yes.
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 So for our next step, as I was saying, they were the.
We'll get together.
Right.
Can you grab me a beverage, please?
And throw, not to speak for Archie, but I'll speak for myself. I mean, this is all good, just so I'm tonight, so we'd like to kind of think through it, if there's any ideas.
Right.
We should have a future discussion on it, and then move to doing the policy.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was the start.
Yeah.
So mark this up and tell me what you think, and I'd like to have it on the agenda. I'd
Yeah.
like to have it on the agenda next week, the next meeting. Because you're right, we've been doing it for a year and a half, and now we haven't done anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, things take focus, and also the difference what we're talking about is planning versus implementation, right?
Yes, we're talking about planning
Yeah.
versus, exactly.
Yeah,
So, but we have to have all that done, so when she does start a job, it's in place, and she's not creating it for 6 months.
Right,
That's what we're doing.
right.
Yep. Okay.
Some
Okay.
of that policy, as far as who can have a Facebook page.
Yes.
I think that would be it,
Official.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All those kinds.
All those things, yes.
There's gonna be
Official.
a change to the whole
Well, yeah, that's,
dynamic of what's.
yeah, that's what discussions and, yeah, just speaking for myself, you know, like the Council of on Aging, clearly they have.
A group that they target.
Exactly, you know, so they're, you know, it makes sense, and the postings that they would have should be, again, only for that, targeting that group as opposed to.
So there's nothing wrong.
Park and Rec.
With Teresa
Yeah.
doing that, but they should have an umbrella policy of guidelines that they should follow.
Yes, that's the guidelines, that's the key, that's the key. We're not looking to have those taken away and then you doing them. We're making sure, yeah, we're making sure. No, which is smart, that's excellent, because, no, we're looking to have the same policies that you're gonna follow, that I'm gonna follow, that everybody's gonna follow, they have to be the same. If they're official West Newbury sites.
Okay.
Yeah, and if
Can-
they're-
we
if
got a
it's-
lot more stuff.
Then let's go.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Is,
I don't know, why, what do you wanna ask him questions about? Well, we reviewed it.
We haven't done G.
But hold on, but we reviewed the contract, all we're doing is signing it.
Correct.
So why,
and review
But
budget.
we gotta know.
Oh.
We have to talk about the dollars, yeah.
okay,
Art, would you like to?
well, you wanna do G first, or what do you wanna do?
Well, okay, well,
I don't care, I don't really care.
We can do G in 1 minute.
yeah.
Okay,
So, can I just talk?
Yes, go ahead.
This is what I mean, it's, the increase, rate for an hour community sterling and the increased responsibility to pursue games costing us $6,700. I think this could be handled if you look at the expenditure report, in a, was it the last 30 days or 60 days? We were doing a farm transfer. Last 60 days. So after May 1st, you only need to do a transfer. That's all.
okay. I want that memorialized and written down so it happens, because certain things, we say it at meetings and then they don't happen. So we wanna make sure that happens, if we're all in agreement of how we wanna do that.
So, I'll write it down. Actually, I'll put it on the future agenda for 4/17. So for the next May meeting, it'll be
Okay.
Okay, that's.
Is that a good way to
Yeah,
handle it?
yeah.
Okay, I'm in agreement, Joe. Thank you. So is that it,
Yes.
Joe?
for that it is.
Okay.
So, now we, wanna sign the, contract, the police union contract?
Okay. Do we have to have a motion on this, or?
Sure.
I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the town of West Newbury and the police department for the period of July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2020, as
No,
outlined in this agreement.
Is there a second?
second discussion. It says, in our agenda, it's 2018 to 2021.
That's fiscal year.
Okay. Okay, so you were talking years, not fiscal years. Just so everybody,
I was talking dates.
yes, I'm just making sure that, so we have a good understanding. This is just a different one printed, so I wanted to make sure that. Second.
Discussion.
I don't have.
All right,
So
okay.
Matt,
How are we gonna pay for it?
there's a page in your agenda, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I put it together.
Say that again?
I put it together.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't, so there's the paying
I looked at it and
Give you a popsicle
I
headache?
and I'm still confused, so I need help.
Okay.
So, here's what it seems like the, unexpended for, yeah, okay, go ahead.
So, okay, so start with total FY 18 budget amount, so that's from the expenditure.
All right, have you seen this?
825.
Mm-hmm.
The proportionate amount of 16, so this is 16 to 26 patrons. So if you do the math, 16 divided by 26 is 0.615%. So 825 times 0.615 is 508. So
Got it.
That would be the proportionate amount of the 825. The actual amount spent through 2718 is 464. So those are all actual numbers, and they're all past history. So there is $43,796 that was unexpended proportionately in the past. I believe there are some, according to town council, longevity, health insurance incentives that are due. That makes sense. I did not check.
That are due and that are already budgeted for.
That's correct.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So if you take that out, the unexpended amount, that would bring the net unexpended amount down $28,000.
Got that.
Mm-hmm.
According to Andy, the cost of year one of the contract is about $35,000. So we have 28 of 35,000, so we can pay the cost of the remaining pay periods. We can't pay both. I mean, we don't.
Okay, so you, but just keep on going. Just keep on going
Here's
down.
where I'm lost. Okay,
Mhm.
so, okay, we've got 35,000, and we have a net savings of 29 so far. We need 35.
We have 35.
So the difference being $6,000 approximately.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cost of the 8 remaining, what do you mean by the?
That's
the
the
cost is still 35,000. We don't care about.
Well, I think
whether
he's
we
going to.
spent it ahead of time
Well,
or
yes,
in the past.
yes, I think he's going to say that we should start paying them going forward, and we have that money, and
We have
all.
money budgeted.
Yeah, we already have that money budgeted with a little bit of cushion in case something happens.
More than have that money budgeted.
Yep, and that he wants to tell us how he's going to pay for the arrears of 24 to 31, and how.
We could have a special town meeting article. I think we kind of preliminary talked about that a year ago. When
Yep,
we
yep.
talked about
So that's the difference.
lowering the tax rate.
Mm-hmm. And then that would allow some flexibility because you would have the 28,796. It would take 10 out of that, so you'd have, just say you'd have 18 left in that, just in case he needs it, so he doesn't.
So it still leaves the chief a lot of money.
He still leaves the chief, yes, with only 8 pay periods left, right? And then do the special article for what was in arrears. So that would be.
You have more than that.
This is not.
What do you disagree about?
Okay.
Both Andy and I sat down independently and went through my budget. I don't know where you're coming up with $28,000, Joe. I know you're looking at some figures, but I guess I figured all the money that I'm gonna have to expend between last week and the end of the calendar year, paying out people's vacations that they haven't taken, sick time, all that stuff, I'm gonna be lucky to break zero.
I didn't hear the last 3 words.
I'm gonna be lucky to break it zero. I spent hours with Sue Curry, and then I came over to talk to Andy, and we're almost identical. I don't even know how Andy came up with his figures. I wanted him to do it independently of how we did it. And I projected all the training that we have to do all the way out right to the end of the year, the people that we have to hire for reserves.
So you're saying in the next, 8, or actually 6 pay periods now, you're gonna have a surge of vacation time and training, specifically in the next 12 weeks that you didn't have before?
Yeah, the guys tend not to take winter vacations. It's basically from now right until the end of this fiscal year is they're taking previous year's vacations and time and holidays off.
So all we're debating
So-
over, all we're not debating over, but
It's
all
really-
is $10,769. That's it.
Right, so.
That's it.
Basically, Art, we were, the take-home message from this, analysis was that that we were gonna have to come up with 24,000.
Hey, Joe.
Or instead of 24,000, from what you're saying, we have to come up with 35,000. There isn't a huge difference in what Joe's saying.
Well, I guess I go back to originally, I think.
No, but if you're saying you're gonna come out to 0, then so we're saying, well, we'll come up with the additional 35.
Which was what the plan I said was probably the best laid plan, and the less complex plan is just to put a warrant article for the total amount and then pay the retro, and then we're fine for this year, instead of stealing Peter to pay Paul and pay back. That's just too complex.
So what we're saying is,
So you're saying don't give them their raises?
No, I didn't say that. Yes, obviously they deserve their raises, but I don't have extra money.
No, but we're saying,
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Okay.
well, Joe, on paper, on what you said is correct, without a doubt. But then when you take in the other of running the department, I think that's where the chief is saying that.
Well, he's saying he's gonna have a surge of vacation time.
And it's already started. And the guys are taking vacation time that they've carried over from the previous year. They're not even taking vacation time that they're already earning, or holiday time. I mean, they tend to bank it. My guys tend not to take winter vacations. They tend to take it usually starting now, school vacation, right through until almost September. That's the heaviest time that we have, that I'm expending overtime.
Well, I mean, personally, I would rather pay them. I mean, they're kind of anxious, I think they've been asking, and I'd be willing to take the risk of the 10,000, it's not even $10,000 now, because another pay period is passed by. And, you know, if we're wrong, then we can just ask for a reserve fund transfer, put $1,000 short. Or you can transfer another line in your budget June 15th. I mean, I really don't think it's a big deal.
Joe, I never said that they don't deserve it. They certainly deserve it.
Well, let's get
Okay,
let's
I'm
get away
gonna-
from
we're gonna
deserving
look
it.
at like
Yeah,
six
yeah, yeah.
different things
Yeah,
for
let's get away from
one.
deserving it. It's
Okay.
just we all know they
Okay,
deserve it.
Let's answer questions individually. Do we want, personally, I feel that the contract is now signed, and that people should not wait until the end of June to get their salary increase. They should get it when they get it. I don't see waiting on it at all. I'm
Okay.
completely against that. That's for point
Can we
number
ask you one question on that? Is there any legal things that, it's just about appropriation, right? So as soon as we sign the contract, are we obligated to then give them the raise then? Or do we have to wait for appropriation? I think I know what the answer is.
Well, you can't, the answer is, two separate things. You can, you have the contract, and you have an appropriation. You can't overspend your appropriation,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But you can pay them the contract, but if you don't get extra money from some source, then you have to have a layoff.
Okay. Oh, let me answer it, but okay.
But that,
Got
I
it.
mean,
I got it.
Yeah.
But the question was that, are we obligated, because we just signed we're going to sign the contract tonight, okay? And that contract says that they're going to get a raise. Are we obligated in the next pay period to give them that raise? You have to wait for the appropriation.
But I don't care.
I understand, but I want to make sure that legally, whatever.
Yeah, no, we're not obligated.
So now, are you saying that you just give it to them going forward, you feel good about that, and then wait for the arrears for the appropriation? Or are you saying to give it, well, we can't give it to them all now anyway, we don't have the money.
What do you mean we don't have the money? We get the money at either a town meeting.
Well, that's
or
what I'm
we get it-
saying.
Or we get it at.
So when
we
you
get it
say,
through-
I don't feel comfortable with not paying them, you're just saying about going forward. You're not talking about what they've accumulated since July.
No, I'm talking about both. We're only talking about a total of 35,000.
So so at our next pay period, you're suggesting that they all have their raises that are incorporated into their paycheck, plus all the arrears that we were supposed to pay them.
Yes.
Okay, so where does that money come
It's
from?
already in the budget.
No, you're 6 million, with this, you're $6,000 short, and the chief is telling us that he's gonna need some of that money to pay a vacation.
I'm not saying we don't have to get more money, but not instantly.
Okay, so give everything back to them, and then get it in April on the town meeting, and then be able to put it in there.
Exactly.
And then pay the rest of it out,
Yes.
okay?
I don't understand what.
Because you have another 2 months left.
Exactly. You have 2
Okay.
months is 16% of the entire budget that has not been expended at all yet.
It's a little more risky, but, I mean, I see what you're saying.
How is it risky?
Well, if it's not appropriated, yeah, and he won't have the money, the flexibility of the money. Listen, listen to me. I can't sit here, right? We ask our department heads, okay, I understand, so forget about how to pay them. So you know what we should do? Let's go get a reserve fund transfer.
Well, I don't even know if this qualifies as a reserve fund.
Yes, this was an unforeseen.
How was it unforeseen? We knew.
We didn't know.
The contract would go.
Yeah, but we didn't know when it was going to be signed.
Did we know it was going to be a 0%?
We didn't know. We didn't know because it's all a negotiation. I understand what you're doing. It's good. It's all under negotiation until it's signed, until the fat selectman signs it. So
I'd be in favor of paying their increase effective immediately. I hear what you're saying on the vacations, but if we fund at special town meeting on April 30th, which is, what's that, 8 weeks, you're gonna have all the money in there first. So it's not actually now through the end of June, it's actually now through the end of April.
the money's coming that day no matter what. Right? I mean, that's what our proposal is anyways. We put an article.
Special town meeting article. Yes.
Yeah, that's how, yeah, so it's all coming there now. It's all coming.
So it actually would be impossible to be short because you've got all of your wages for May and June still sitting there. So you're not going to be short because you're going to pay $1,000.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not giving it to you at the end of the school. We're not giving it to you at the end of the year. We're giving it to you, and then just give them the raise going.
You don't have to wait for the new fiscal year.
Yeah, it's a special, and you can spend it the next day. But I wouldn't go with your thing, Joe. I mean, Archie. That if you pay it all out now, it does kind of handcuff them more. I would go with Joe's recommendation and give it to him going forward. But then again, with that understanding, but do you want now? Is it a better understanding, Chief?
Well, I understand all aspects of it. I guess I hate to even say it, I'm a true conservative, I guess. I wholeheartedly believe that the officers deserve what they're getting, if not more. But I also wholeheartedly believe that we shouldn't be spending money until we have the money in our pocket. When we get the money at the town meeting, if we get it, which I hope we will, then we pay a bill. I mean, this is not new to the guys. I've been telling them since day one that they probably wouldn't get their money until the first week of July. The calendar year, the whole year ends, you calculate out what the overtime, what the back pay is, and then they get their check. all subject to appropriation. If the board wants to do something different, that's okay.
But they'll be getting it May 1st.
Okay, so I ran the numbers right to the end of the year, because I thought that's what I was asked to do. So I guess I always look at things worst-case scenario, so when worst-case scenario
No, that's
doesn't
good.
happen,
That's good.
then it's a good day. So if I guess I have more money than I'm gonna, at least I think I'm gonna have, then I guess that's a good day for everybody. But I try to be conservative, that since the day I've walked into this town, it's all about money and it's all about overtime. And it's always in the back of my mind, and I try to play the devil's advocate with that. But if the board wants to do it,
I think we're pretty conservative.
okay. Well, I guess maybe I'm even more conservative. Yes, you guys are pretty tight. Yes, but I guess maybe I'm tighter in this respect. I'm trying to look at the bigger picture. If the three of you want to do it differently, that's okay.
I have a major problem is I have no idea about your budget. I have a major problem going against one of our department heads telling us certain things.
Okay, well.
I mean,
Well,
I mean,
we're trying to
I mean,
micromanage
so
it,
yeah, so I have a major problem with that because I honestly don't. I mean, I believe Joe's numbers.
I understand, and I see Joe's numbers as well, but.
But it didn't take into account vacation, and I think he
Right,
can admit that now. But
Glenn,
Okay, so
yeah, so let's just
let's cut to the chase. Do we?
But hold on for 1
create
second.
a special article for $35,000.
Now, so would you? I understand you're conservative. Now it's $10,000. Would you feel comfortable if?
Probably that was as of this pay period. So as the weeks go forward, that goes down. So it's no longer 10. It's probably like 9 something.
Okay, but just say 10 for argument's sake. So if we start paying them forward, the $10,000 would come out of your, obviously,
my operating budget.
Your operating budget for this year, which you didn't count on. But that's going to be replenished May 1st. I know you did the other.
If that's fine, so long as at the end of the day that I get all the money back that I need to run the PD, like the three of you want me to.
And your May and June wages are more than $25,000.
You feel comfortable? Yeah. But that doesn't get what you want. That just gets them paying forward.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll just.
Well,
I'm not going to fight on that.
I would feel comfortable with the.
How much do we want this special article to be? That's all I want to answer.
He has to calculate. I think we should make a motion that we pay the increased rates effective when the union signs the contract. Then we have a contract. We're going to sign it tonight. So as soon as starting for the subsequent pay period.
Oh, yeah.
And then Andy needs to calculate what the arrears amount is from that date going backwards. So it'll be more than $24,231 now.
No. The article has to be $35,000. That's the amount of the article because we're going to give it back to him. He's going to be taken out of this budget.
He's saying it's zero.
Okay, that's fine. It just flows out of free cash.
Yeah.
So are you trying to figure out how much money he's going to have left? But that's where. We're micromanaging that account too much. So the article has to be $35,000.
That's what I've been trying to say.
Okay, so I would make a motion that we put a special article on for $35,000 for the special Springtown meeting for. What are we going to put it in? For the salary and wages, right? And in that motion, whenever the contract is signed, that we would start the increases.
Beginning with the next subsequent period.
Yes. Now, this is another question. There were a lot of new incentives in there, stipends. So when that's signed. When that's signed, whatever it is, not new, but they're new. When that's signed, are they eligible for those? So that could be another couple of $1,000.
Remember, the second half wouldn't be due till June, so it's only half.
I would assume they were calculated like finance.
What stipends are we referring to?
the field training officer, the
Yes.
accreditation officer.
Yeah, but that goes into,
Right, so it's in the 35,000. So second to your motion,
okay, so that,
it's in the 35,000, you just said that.
yep. But the 10,769, that number
Let's
is not.
forget about that.
Okay, no, I have to use some number. That number is not correct because it doesn't incorporate the first payment of the stipends, which will be due upon the signature, and then the second one will be due in June, no?
Well, I mean, that's part of the arrears. So you're paying everyone's arrears with the appropriation. So
Okay.
basically, they get the higher rate from that day forward.
And any stipends or anything like that are all the arrears?
That's all arrears.
Perfect. That's it. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have to pay those too, and that number's right. Perfect. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we got that straight?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
Nope. Should have just went on the cover of, what are we on now? Can that be part of the budget too? How do you want to do this, Mr. Chairman? How are we going to review, when you say review the articles, what do you want to talk about? Joe?
I would say we should talk about anything that we have a question on and not go through every single one.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we've already addressed the bicentennial and the CCC.
Well,
Well, we heard about them.
Well, you have any more questions?
Yeah.
We addressed the questions that we had.
she has to do with numbers.
Yeah.
And we know that. So,
Council on Aging one, I really didn't have any questions about. It was about chairs, right?
Yeah, let's just go through the ones.
yeah.
I know, but I'm just flipping them.
No questions about that.
DPW, we have major questions about.
Gary, I have a question about, do you have approximation, where are we at on the snow?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
I've had other issues to deal with the last
Yeah,
month,
okay.
so I haven't really paid that much attention to it.
Okay.
I'll have a number for you.
Especially too, you just had the snowstorm over the weekend, so
Right,
that's,
we just-
yeah. Well, more snow than we thought we were gonna get.
I know, we got a good 8 inches of snow.
Okay, then the fire, you have any questions on the fire? I really don't.
Is the fire protective gear on the CIC?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it was just slightly,
Above?
more than what we had planned, yeah.
So do you want to try to supplement some out of free cash? And so we keep that plan complete and say that the CIC, whatever it was planned, will pay out of that, and then it.
I don't know what to do with the capital improvement schedule, because we keep talking.
Yeah, but it's been honed down better than it's been,
Better than
Joe.
it's been, Joe.
You're right. It's not. So my question is,
I'm
this.
talking about funding, I'm not talking about what the schedule.
Oh, so the CIC plan, take the one out of stabilization, on that one, and then take the remainder, if it's higher, out of free cash. If we're gonna have a schedule and we're gonna do it, we have to follow.
Okay.
Okay. My point being was it was a little bit more. So it was just a question.
Not
If it wasn't a
like
good.
10 grand or something.
Oh, okay. If it wasn't a good question, it wasn't a good question.
Yes, yeah, I wrote
Okay.
on CIC.
Okay. Well, he's not too happy with you. He's not going to answer anything. So, this is for the cameras that we told him that he couldn't use for the board.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yep.
No, I had a note, what plan?
These are the cameras, right? Because we told them they were going to put cameras and they were going to use the money from the board. Yep.
I don't have any other.
No.
Budget questions, yes.
Well, I have a big question.
Okay.
What this $315,000, the purpose of special purpose education stabilization fund, where do we get this number and why we get this number? Where is it going to come from?
The same that we've done.
I understand, but where did we get this number? It's just a number.
This is, oh, so.
So I mean, just why, I mean, it's just,
It's the amount of new debt that closed out, will close out this year, added to next year.
In
Okay.
other words, if we hadn't
I-
stopped paying on a note,
Yeah, I think last year was like 279 or something.
Okay. Perfect. And that's gonna come from? Thank you.
Question?
Yep.
We had a couple articles, I think the pension stabilization article, that we had put 50, I don't know if that was the new article. We had done 50,000 for each year.
I haven't seen any this year.
No, it wasn't in there. It was what we had done before. I don't know if you want to include that.
Past the deadline. Selectmen have to stand within their
Well,
same principles.
Yeah, there's another big mess too. That,
The insurance.
no, the bylaws with the finance director, there's finance director written all over here that needs to be removed.
It's not that bad. I've gone through it and have halfway done a draft out.
But I thought they automatically came out, no? With the new.
I mean, it's really just cleanup, but basically.
Okay, perfect. I got it. Excellent. I'm not trying to be rude, but we can talk about it and I have an understanding, so we're gonna have that on there.
We should.
Yes. Yep, perfect. A housekeeping article on the bylaws due to the new town manager. Perfect.
And the other one is, the building insurance fund. We traditionally add, these are the ones we have, these are repeat articles.
we've got 50K there. I think we don't put any more money.
We spent some money though.
We have a down payment, I mean, we had a deductible at the page, so that was 10 grand, 10, so we have 40 left. I'd like to have a history. I would agree with Archie on that. I don't think we need it. I mean, we use it for what? Deductibles and
Deductibles or if you want.
payout? Yeah, payout.
And
Yeah.
we found that there was not any savings in increasing our deductible above, minimal savings in increasing our deductible. So we've got 4 deductibles there. That seems like
That's enough. And
seems like enough.
if we needed any more, we'd have a reserve fund transfer. That would be a definitely legitimate. I mean, from
That's
the.
that's a totally unexpected, yeah.
Say it again, bud.
Can we do the budget?
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know if anybody caught it, but there are the 2 articles to transfer for the debt service for the Dunn property and the septic.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Thank you. No. We need more for the budget.
So what's the latest budget funding?
Oh, she didn't put it in there. You had to bring your own. You want me to give you a copy of this? It's the same budget that you had last week.
There was no changes from the last time.
So the latest grand total request is 14,944,194.
Actually, I have 14,948,195.
948. That's what I have. Increased by 4 point.
Oh, is that reducing the town manager's salary from 150 to 155?
No, I haven't made that change yet.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's mark that one down. I want another one. What about we talked about the savings from the electrical. Thank you. Sorry.
So this is a question for the board.
Which one are we at?
Well,
Hold on. You want one?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Lucky him.
Finance department and the town manager expenses. I know you flipped the expenses just on a one-to-one basis. So the remaining expenses in the finance department are as we operate today with you and the 3 other people. And it's going to go from the 4 to 2. So should we take expenses and move it to town manager expenses. Because like right now, we had, Andy went to several seminars and what have you. Town manager, you're gonna be the person that does those type of things. So just advocating potentially moving $5,000.
Sure.
So how much you made for this?
Hey, Mary, are you gonna come back soon?
Yeah, this is just for Sue. Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
I say yes.
So can you do that?
Sure.
Another thing, item 5, I just noted Board of Assessors.
Their stipends are back in.
Yeah, they put their stipends.
Oh, I saw that.
0.
Mm-hmm. 0 on that.
Yep. She knows it's gonna come out.
They try every year.
Okay, what number were you on?
Well, no, the finance department, so you want to go back, and then we have Board of Registrars is fine, Conservation. Well, I have all these questions that were I'd like to have answered, that we have the increases. No, okay, these still don't have any increases to, no raises, okay.
Correct.
So I want to know, I want, on the Conservation Commission, 10, they've increased their line item, salary and wages, 28 to 30. Why? I don't know.
John, I forgot to give you this.
Oh, okay,
When
thank
I
you.
printed that for you this morning.
Ah. Educational.
Joe's correct. They are looking for somebody to take minutes.
Assessing expenses increase in software. Okay. % increase assumed for administrative and inspectors. So that, okay, hold on. So we're on that one, conservation, planning. Yeah, okay, what about planning? They want somebody for minutes?
Correct.
Are we not paying an existing person that's there the money now, are we? Why does it seems to be a thing now? Who started this? Okay. Okay, so it's minutes, not a new position. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. You're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean an increase by them. That's what I meant.
Somebody's asking for a new position.
So, well, new position, isn't there they have to go through the personnel board, and so don't we have a?
I thought you were on the personnel.
I am, but there's a.
The personnel board is supposed to have its rates for whatever class it is, and that.
Well, they're supposed to come to us.
Chooses a salary based upon the guidelines of the personnel committee with the approval of the board of selectmen.
Who's new on planning board? The minutes taken? She's not new.
No, she wants,
Just additional hours.
clerk. Yeah, no, I don't know. They want someone that additional.
So is it?
Boring, right?
Oh, well, you know what? Why don't we do this? Why can't we get? Does this tell us?
I think that
16, 2%. Okay, no. Inspection requesting building inspector maximize rate for grade 8. Fire protection cost increase. 2 cruiser. Okay. SRO. Yeah, they don't have it here. I don't think. Yeah, you might want them. Okay, so I would actually like an understanding, okay, of what about new positions, no matter what they are, and they have to follow. Do we have who contacts these people? Does Andy contact them? Does Mary contact them? Does Mike contact them? Do we contact? The people that are requesting in the budget new positions, there's a policy that has to go in place. They have to go in front of the personnel board. I thought they did. They have to come and talk to us.
The setting their salaries is that you have guidelines, you have your levels that you approve.
Yes, I understand that.
And yeah, I mean, they don't want
So, what does the personnel committee do then? I thought they.
basically advises the board of selectmen to you know,
Salaries?
on what they
If I'm not mistaken, department heads have come to the personnel committee before and said, you know, establish positions. Okay, so this is what they're trying to do. They're establishing new positions.
Yes, and then you assign them what level.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's recycled paper. So they have to come to us, and you're saying no. Yeah. So guys, are you into this? You into this conversation? Okay. So what would you like to do? There is a process in place. Why don't we ask them to follow the process? If they were going to establish new positions, the first step is the personnel committee. They have to go, right? They have to go in front of the person. Okay, these guys.
What are the steps and where can you find that outline?
Hey, Mike.
So it does talk about,
Okay, so can we establish in this budget the new positions, please? So we can give some direction about this tonight. The new direction, the new positions are what? The planning board? The planning board? And the Conservation Commission. Any others? Any others?
Can I see that list I gave you?
The increase, what I read off of that, the increase in the inspectional department is they put in their own 2% raise.
No.
That's what I thought.
That is Glenn looking, apparently he is below the middle of grade 8, and he's looking to be increased above the middle part of grade 8. He said he's been here 21 years.
You understand that? I understand it, but I don't know if we're all having the same discussion. I don't know if we're having the same discussion here, because we have to make decisions on certain things. And I'll stop and let you guys finish, and then we can move on. So the increase in Glenn, he's asking for a grade increase.
Not a grade increase.
I thought he wanted to go to grade 8 or something.
He's in grade 8. He wants to just be in the higher level
Okay, he wants,
of grade 8.
so he's asking to be maxed out in grade 8. Okay, so then can we get, so is that, we're gonna set, what do you want to do? We're gonna set Andy out and say, hey, listen, can you get us comps, or are we gonna do it ourselves and have a discussion? What would you like to do?
I mean, I don't see, it seems that people, if people are asking for that, then documentation has to be brought to us. Rather than us doing the digging.
I would totally agree with you, but we have to say that, or that's what I'm saying. So who says that to him? Am I fighting this too much?
Do you want to see the budgets that we submitted to Andy?
I don't.
That has a detail, rationale, doesn't it?
Yes.
On it?
Yep.
So that might give you a little bit of that input.
We need to see that.
Okay, so if you could have so do you have the rationale for the planning board also, that they need somebody to do clerical? If you can give us all the rationale for as soon as possible so we can discuss it. Is there anything else in here?
I'll have it to you tomorrow.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you give us all the rationale that you have from everybody, or is it too much work?
That's a real good, I mean, you're welcome to, it's a big book. I don't have it.
I mean, would it answer our questions? Well, then we'll stop. Then okay, I was just gonna say that if it's too big. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So, we talked about the electric. Is that last week about doing 75? Is that shown in here? Because if it hasn't changed, then it hasn't. That's the town building operating expenses. We were gonna decrease that by $35,000 because of the electric bills. You pay your electric bills out of the town operating, but, yeah, okay.
I mentioned that before, to take money out of that and put it in an account since we're dealing with all the solar stuff and the finance department take those bills off. Because we're getting bills from Amoresto and paying that, and paying the electric bills.
So let's, Gary, let's, so that, it's that whole situation, the money that's coming back from the solar field, is that going back to that line item? Is it going back to the general fund? How does that all work?
There's a thing called Schedule Z, and what it is Schedule Z are the 10, electrical counts that get the credit of the solar. So basically what they've done is that they've taken the 10 top accounts of the town, assign a percentage to it, and they divvy it up that way. So one account will get 5%, one account will get 16%.
When does that happen?
It's already happened.
No, I know, but does it happen monthly or
Every
annually?
month, every bill.
Okay.
And so we realized that the savings are in the thousands, and then we took 75% of that to take off this bill. It might not be sunny. But that's a good question. Now, is one of those bills the water department?
I think it is, because I noticed that,
So it shouldn't be.
yeah,
We
they
need-
are getting a little credit on it.
We need to take that off of there.
Glenn, I think you're right.
That should not happen.
Or at least accounted for. Maybe we don't have enough, I thought we have enough of our own stuff, so they have it down.
That's probably the reason, because we ran into the same problem in Salisbury.
You need so many.
Don't have enough of it.
So, but it needs, yeah, so,
We did an analysis of what the bills are, the Schedule Z, that's in the finance department. We have the Schedule Z. Rick Parker also has that.
so we need to account for it because that's a town savings, not a water department savings. I know it sounds petty, but if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. You know,
If we're trying to, yeah, I agree.
okay?
Yeah, you're actually funding that line item more than it should be, because the money isn't going.
Well, we're not anymore because we're gonna take $35,000 out of it.
Going into wherever it's going, and going back.
Okay, you have anything else, Joe?
Oh, do we want to mention the police? Correct, okay.
Okay. So if we could get that back up, right? Get the electrical out of there. If we get the backup from the inspectional department, get it from planning board, and get the backup from Concom, just so we have a better understanding why they're asking for people. And then after we get that backup, there's a process in place. We'll talk. Then I guess we can talk about the process. And then if you could take that $35,000 out of that line item for the expenses for DPW.
We're not.
Yep.
Let's speed through the list. Do you have any interest in serving on the superintendent's search?
Not unless Glenn wants to.
I move to
I do.
appoint Glenn Temper to this superintendent's search.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. That's
1 second, please. Could you, whoever sent that to you, Mary, that Buell, I think, the gentleman from Merrimack, I think is the one who sent you the email.
You're the superintendent search?
Yeah.
No, what is,
Okay, whoever it was, could you email them back tomorrow morning and say that I am and give them my contact information so they know we can start the, because they're kind of waiting. Thank you.
Is this not files? Is this temporary help or is it actual files?
It's for the managing, yeah, updating the files.
It's for the temporary help.
Yes, it's for the help.
Okay, so we speak to this too. So Mary's asking for temporary help to have $40.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said 2,000.
Whatever.
But that's,
Joe, Joe's got the solution. Just tell us, Joe. Just tell us, Joe.
She did not include her salary increase, it's actually like $200. If we look at our expenses and professional account, I think we know this a little bit closer than we do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have that left.
And we can make a line item transfer. Fine. That's how we're going to handle it.
I can't think.
Yep. Okay, next.
Nice. Where you going? Recycling. Yeah,
Okay, I was,
They're not here. Is there any quotes that you want from us before you post that wonderful story about everything's okay?
If you do, ask him.
Wonderful story about everything's okay? Where is that?
It was President's Day, and it's a nice time to. I don't know.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
It's going to be horrible. What'd she say to you?
I wanted to know how we're doing. The town is not under recycling compared to other towns. We're not, no. However.
We're not under recycling. That means we're recycling well.
Really? Okay, because that's a change for a couple of years ago.
Well, I'm just telling you what the mellow guy said. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so the other thing is
the trash guy versus like the energy.
Well, okay, but I'm.
It is what it. He's giving you what it is.
Okay, don't shoot the messenger. I know.
Yeah.
The finance aspect.
Yeah, no, but the financial aspects of it is that there's no market for any recycling at the materials basically at all, except for paper, a little bit. And so it's actually costing more to recycle than it is to throw the trash away. But we are not throwing it away. Mello is taking it to Boston to get it recycled, but it is actually costing them more per ton to recycle than it is to
Just flooded the market.
because the market is
Yep.
saturated, and the Chinese economy doesn't need as much recycled materials. So that's the take-home message on that. So,
But we're doing.
however, the one thing is that because the everybody that is recycling has to be fussier, because that's one big problem with recycled materials is that people are a little sloppy. They throw in a plastic bag with the paper, or they throw in a plastic bag.
That creates the bar.
Yep.
And that,
But this is another thing. If we had
So
social
we-
media, we could post it on all of our things tomorrow.
We are going to be penalized. We're not at the moment, but it's going to happen very shortly that the town will be penalized if our recycling materials aren't what they're supposed to be. And another,
Okay.
so in other words, if someone is throwing a plastic bag in with the cans or whatever, it messes up the system, and they will fine us for doing this.
Can we get like clarity on specifically what that is from the Board of Health? Whatever.
Well, I have I didn't want to
Get in the way. You want to get in the way? I thought we were doing the fast track tonight.
Yeah, I can tell the one other thing. So
Because he can open up this bag and we can talk about recycling for another half an hour if you want.
Okay, one other thing is that like this is a simple one, like the greasy pizza boxes. No.
Really?
The grease messes up the paper recycling.
Okay, well that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, because everybody recycles pizza boxes. I do.
Everyone thinks it, but if you had the extra pepperoni,
So why don't we do this? Why don't we have Archie work with Mary and the Board of Health? We can send out something by next week.
No, create a communications thing to do that. The Board of Health
Oh,
is already.
there you go.
But we should put it out like
And they have to decide whether they're gonna do it paper-wise, or they're gonna put it on the website and everything else. So
Whatever they do, we're going to make sure it's on our social media as much as we possibly can.
So,
Perfect.
that's enough of that for the moment.
Thank you.
I move to approve the minutes of February 5th, February 8th, and February 12th.
Second.
Discussion, I had one, correction on a vote. Is that-
I think so.
Okay, then, all
Some-
in favor?
Aye.
I move to approve the payroll warrant.
Second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye. No, I mean, abstain.
You abstain.
I'm sorry.
Approve the invoice warrant.
Second.
Discussion, I had a couple of things, but, I had a question about, I'm gonna approve it, but I just wanted to throw it out there. There was a
Oh, the
invoice
library.
from the library, and it's, they pay for a
The same thing.
software service so that people can exchange their free passes to the Peabody Museum or whatever it is. So that not only are we buying tickets for people, but we're paying a software service to manage them. $1,200 a year.
It's the arts. It costs to be cultured.
But this isn't even, like, why don't we buy tickets so that I can go to the WWE? I don't get.
Oh, can I go with you?
I don't get it. But that's my point. Drives me crazy.
Three of them.
Okay.
Okay, got it. There's a long list of them. Well, follow-up meeting assignments, I think Andy has his marching orders, so to speak, that we wanted the backup material for those three departments and whittled down budget, especially, you know what I mean, if there's any more refinements going forward, especially in the electrical. What else?
We're gonna get some more numbers from the bicentennial committee.
Yeah, better numbers.
Yeah,
Better numbers.
I'll put the screws to them next week when I go.
Yeah, I don't know
They
why
are
don't-
trying.
I know,
They
I
are
don't know why
trying.
They don't have any numbers.
Well, they are. She reached out to me. They are coming through the numbers. That woman did reach out to me just to ask my expertise about how much a function like that would cost. And then, well, then I'm going to speak to him and say, well, the pancake, it all depends on how many blueberries you want in the pancakes. So,
Yeah,
you know.
I don't understand. I'm not gonna.
I'll flip pancakes. That's about the only thing I
I
can
mean, I
flip.
see the cost of a pancake breakfast.
Joe, it's the scale. Think about the scale. It's the amount of people. So if you say, okay, the pancake breakfast is only opened up to 500 people, simple. It's no money at all. It's $1,500. If you're going to get 2,000, it's a lot of money.
We said also on the communications plan that we were.
We're all going to
Yes.
work together and
Agenda.
put it on the next agenda, please.
And they're.
Because it's long and it's arduous and it's hard to do, you know, so it's going to take a while. But we would like,
That's gonna take some time.
but we have, it is a big elephant in the room, though, but we've been saying we need it and we don't want to tackle, so we decided to do it. We got to move forward. There was a ton of work that they did just to get
This is a lot of work.
just to get to that point. So, and there's going to be a lot more. We just got to keep on moving forward. And the cable, Kevin is a pseudo member. Yeah, no, but Kevin is a pseudo member. He shows up and helps, and he doesn't want to be tied down like he has to go to a meeting, but he'll help. Yeah. But he's not on it at all. Okay. Okay? No.
So next week, our next meeting is on the calendar is when we're meeting annually with the superintendent for the budget.
I might even wear a bow tie for that, too. Just, it is what it is.
So you, aside, Glenn asked for the warrants and budget to be on every future agenda?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say that's a yes.
Yeah, I mentioned that to her, to mention it to you, if we could have those on so we can discuss it every,
Until we sign the warrant, it should be
on,
on every single agenda.
yeah.
So you're gonna make sure I get on the backup on that to make sure
The three of them.
I can feed that information.
Anything else?
Okay, so, the finance committee is attending the superintendent's meetings, because that's their joint meeting with the superintendent. I spoke to the acting chairperson of the finance committee on Sunday, and, they would like to stay after the school people leave and discuss the budget and the article questions that they have, mostly the budget. They said they're currently tracking that 5% increase with non-contractual increases. They've had a lot of requests, and they're looking for some guidance from us.
Perfect. I think that's very important. Do you have any? They're gonna be coming, they're gonna come with the superintendent so they have a better understanding, and they're asking if they could stay. Mhm.